But I want to talk about Fallout 4. It's a fucking scam. Fallout 4 Anniversary is an absolute scam. $40 upgrade, $20 mods. Ruined. Absolutely ruined. I don't even see why they had to even make this. Why did they release this? Why did they not see that this was just going to piss everybody off? And does this make it to where all of the old mods are just broken now? Again? I don't want any part of this. I'll just keep playing the old Fallout 4. I don't get it.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, and if you can hear the tone of my voice, I'm gonna have a little bit of a meltdown in this video.
Gonna have a melty?
On this channel,
Gonna have a melty D?
I've talked quite about washed game development studios. You can put BioWare in washed category. You can put Rocksteady in washed category. I have kind of controversially thrown Naughty Dog in the washed category. If you don't want to put Naughty Dog in the washed category, yeah, I could understand that, but, you know, my opinion is Naughty Dog...
I think Naughty Dog's been in the washed category since The Last of Us dropped. I think The Last of Us pretty much changed everything for them. I don't know what happened, man. Where did it all go wrong? Was it... What's his name? Neil Druckmann?
Used to put out great games consistently. The last game they put out 5 years ago was incredibly divisive, and they haven't put out a new game. All they've done is cancel the game in the last 5 years, but I digress. Another studio you can arguably put in the washed category is one Bethesda Game Studios. They dropped Fallout 4 10 years ago, and since then they've dropped one major single-player open-world game, and that is Starfield, which had...
Yeah, it's been real messy, man. Like, what do they got? What do they got coming? They haven't announced anything, and it's been years. All they got is Fallout 76, and then they re-released Fallout 4. I guarantee we're going to get Skyrim 2 more times before we get a new Elder Scrolls or Fallout game.
I'd say a fairly negative reception, but how about them re-releases? We got another one here to talk about today in Fallout 4 the Anniversary Edition with an absolutely insane price point, which we'll talk all about that, and on top of that, we'll go over a little bit about Todd Howard talking about the Elder Scrolls 6. Oh, they don't want to reveal games or give updates on games too early. Maybe, then I would question...
And it's taking too long, man.
Why did you reveal the game in the first place 7 years ago? Okay, we'll talk that at the end of this video, but first of all, Fallout...
And we already knew that they were going to be working on it. They were like, hey, Elder Scrolls 6. Like, bro, we know. Come on, man.
Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is out today, and it's an upgrade. And how expensive is that upgrade if you already own Fallout 4? $40!
No,
$40 to upgrade your copy of Fallout 4 Anniversary Upgrade. So if you only own the base game, that is $40. That would be 8x. 8x the cost of...
Okay, and what do we get for it? What do they add?
The base
Creation
game,
Club?
the base game is on sale directly on Steam. That would be 4x the cost of the Game of the Year edition. Now, if you have the game...
they're done with Creation Club. I forget what it's called now. They call it something.
They even have dog meat to take the appearance.
And probably definitely better.
Of another breed to enrich your journey. All right, it's mods. You get mods, but they're paid mods, and you can buy the Creations bundle for...
Dude, I can't believe they're still on this whole paid mods thing. I'm so fucking tired of it. I'm over it, man. I was over it when they first announced it.
$19.99, which currently has a mixed reception on Steam. Let's read some of these receptions. Classic Bethesda, update your game, breaking both the base game and the passion-driven mods created for free to include new paid content, launch it, and then have it not work apply to anybody who bought it, making your purchase of this bundle essential. I'm an idiot, I bought this. If you use this...
Even if the next game is super successful, they're gonna have to make astronomical amounts of money. Like, billions of dollars, because this is not sustainable.
DLC achievements are locked. Fallout 4 updated. Sad face. I broke my mods. More sad face creations is currently offline. It is bugging out like crazy and not giving all of the creations that are mentioned in the bundle so far. Cannot use the creation menu. Bought for the hype. Realized it's Bethesda and it's obviously broken. Not working. My refund is processing, and you can read all of the reviews. Now, you know, as much as people did meme on Fallout 76 initially, by all accounts, Fallout 76 is a solid game at this point, and it's getting a major update, I believe, next month. So, you know, credit to them for turning around Fallout 76. But the reality is, the single-player Bethesda experiences, from that standpoint, they're absolutely washed. They are cooked, and, you know, they put out one major game in the last decade, new game, that being Starfield, and Starfield, I think most people would agree, is the worst.
Yeah, they shut down all of their smaller studios, like the people who made Dishonored. What else did they have? Prey. Like, where are all the small games? Where are all the in-between games? We're not even getting any of those anymore.
That's the single-player game of all time, or at least one of the worst of all time. And on top of that, they decided to bait and switch you. So that brings me to my next point. Obviously, Fallout 4 Anniversary is a scam. You should not buy it. You should wait for it to hit the bargain bin if you've never bought Fallout 4 and you want it. If you pay $60 for this, you are absolutely insane. The reality is, unfortunately, this might mean that Fallout 4's base price gets juiced up, since we've seen in the past, studios will re-release games, special editions of games, and that juices up the cost of the original title. So just keep that in.
I'm just gonna keep going back and playing Fallout New Vegas over and over again. I literally have it set up now so I can go and play it on stream whenever I get done with Resident Evil.
Mind. Fallout 4, the base game, is on sale at our good friends over at Instant Gaming. It is $5.88. That is the base game, however, if you do want to pick that up. You know, so I would ideally get the DLC. I just don't know if Bethesda's gonna put this on sale anymore, or if they're gonna put it at deep of a discount. So I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. Shout out to instantgaming.com. But yeah, $5.88 if you do want to pick that up. All right, that brings us.
And I still think that's too much.
For buddy Todd Howard. Todd Howard says that he is not going to give you guys an update on the Elder Scrolls 6, and he has an ideal scenario. Elder Scrolls 6 is a long way off, he says, but he does say something to add to that. I like to just announce stuff and release it. My perfect vision, and I'm not going to say this is going to happen, it's going to be a while, and then one day the game will just...
Dude, bro, just stop talking about it. Just stop. You didn't have to say anything. It just makes everything worse. You want your hype meter to go up, but he's not making it go up, it's making it go down or stagnate.
Appear. You might say that was a test run with Oblivion, that's what he's talking about. It worked out well. Buddy, you revealed this game 7 years ago, and anybody with a functioning brain cell knows why you revealed the game in 2018, because you wanted to get that live service money. That's what you were after. You guys were after the mobile money, so to add this facade of, oh, don't worry, we're still working on these single-player games, you revealed Starfield, which ultimately did not come out for 5 years, and then you revealed Elder Scrolls 6 as well, back to back, when that was just a confirmation.
Dude, they worked so hard for so long on Starfield for it to be not great.
That, yeah, this game will
but maybe the mods will save it. I've been seeing some really cool mods. That Star Wars Genesis mod, I bring it up all the time. I want to play that shit, man.
Some point happen. Brother, you revealed this game probably a decade before it was actually going to come out,
or longer. If we even get it at this point, Bethesda might shutter their doors by that time.
We end up getting it in 2028. That would be a decade. I believe the reveal was 2018. And I remember when Elder Scrolls 6 was revealed, I was getting texts from people being like, oh my god, Elder Scrolls 6. And this is more casual video game players and whatnot, but it's just like, dude, that game was never gonna come out. That was just to bait people, get them excited, and ultimately that's what it was. It took them 5 years after that to drop Starfield, and now, what's left with Elder Scrolls?
That probably wasn't even the plan. They probably planned to release it way sooner than that, and just everything went to shit.
Scrolls 6. We're gonna be waiting years and years for that, and you drop our re-releases on Fallout 4. You overprice the crap out of that. It's $39.99 for this upgrade, which is insane. $20 for a collection of mods is insane as well. That's whack on top of that, but honestly, it might end up appreciating the price point of Fallout 4 in the sense that they're...
If there was like a full-on DLC or like expansion or something that came with this, I'd be on board. Or multiple mini expansions. But nope.
Not gonna put it on heavy discounts anymore. So if you do want it, I'll leave a link to Instant Gaming if you do want to check it out. I do get an affiliate kickback, which is much appreciated. You know, we gotta keep the lights on. Chicken ain't getting any cheaper these days. But man, it's just like Bethesda's so cooked, and I'm talking about Bethesda Game Studios. I get it, they published Indiana Jones. Hopefully, you know, they publish Marvel's Blade, and that turns out well. But from Bethesda Game Studio standpoint, Starfield was generally a pretty...
And by the way, that's still just 2 games. That's still just 2 games. One of them's not even released. And Indiana Jones did not do very good.
Mediocre game by general reception.
Great game, by the way. I saw gameplay for it. I didn't play it, but great game.
I think it was okay, but you know, not at the level of Bethesda's other outings. And Bethesda to me peaked at 2008, 2011 with Fallout 3 and Skyrim back to back, and they
Fallout New Vegas ruined them. I think Skyrim was just, I think it was probably in development around the time that Fallout New Vegas came out, and if they would have started development after Fallout New Vegas, I think that probably would have destroyed them.
Drop both those games in a 3-year time span. Now you're left waiting 8 years in between Fallout 4 and Starfield, and you're left waiting at the very least another 5 to 6 years in between Starfield.
They just cannot release a Fallout New Vegas 2 or have somebody else do it. They cannot. They probably don't trust it. They probably don't want somebody to show that they can make a better game than them using their own tools again.
And Elder Scrolls 6, I would argue, and this is so many studios, BioWare, Rocksteady, Naughty Dog, we are talking about how, oh my god, these games are getting bigger and bigger. Let me tell you what, these games are getting bigger and bigger with the development cycles getting longer, and they are getting worse. BioWare, their games are worse. Rocksteady...
I think they're trying to do too much. Todd Howard said it himself in Starfield's, before Starfield came out, that he was really focused on just being able to stand there and just look at stuff and just experience doing nothing. And it's like, this is a fucking game, dude. Just make a game. I don't care about the life cycle of the ants and the textures on every single pebble.
Their games are worse. Naughty Dog, their games are worse. Go take your 7-year dev cycles, and I just don't care about that. We peaked so long ago.
They need to take the vibes of Fallout Bakersfield, that Doom mod, and just use that. Just use that kind of model and make a Fallout game with really downgraded graphics, but at the same time, they'll be upgraded because it'll actually have style again.
And these games are just not as good as what they used to be in terms of those aforementioned studios. I think gaming is incredible. There are so many good games coming out, but some of the studios I grew up with cooked. Rocksteady, BioWare, Naughty Dog, cooked beyond belief. But, you know, I know people will disagree about the Naughty Dog thing, but at the very least, BioWare, Rocksteady, Bethesda, I think there's no arguing it. I think they're washed. Hopefully Elder Scrolls 6 turns out well, but these days, I don't have a lot of faith. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys.
I think that the next Elder Scrolls will be pretty great on paper, but it's going to be mid when it comes to actually playing it. And I think most people who play it probably won't even complete it. Because that's usually how it goes. That's how it went with Baldur's Gate 3 a lot, actually, too. It was great, but it was kind of too big. Yep, Bethesda's cooked. Let's talk about Naughty Dog, since we were on that topic. Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet promo video blurs out a pride flag. Was it a pride flag? I didn't actually see, like, definitive proof, but it does definitely look like it. Has Sony learned their lesson? Probably not. They're probably just trying to trick people into buying it by releasing normal marketing, but they haven't cleaned house yet, so they've definitely not gotten all of the woke garbage out.
And so to know that there was so much hatred, and so much backlash, it was hurtful. So yeah, and I feel like those same people that were hating are gonna play that game, and guess what? They're gonna love it. So
yeah, not with that face, not with that attitude. No thanks. Get that shit out of here. If that's how you're gonna be acting in the game, I don't want any part of it. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Not gonna pay money for it unless it's great and they do turn things around. But I doubt it at this point.
What is up, Space Pirates?
Hello.
This is your Admiral.
Hello, Admiral.
The decidedly debonair Dr. Disaster. And Naughty Dog has long been one of those companies that stood at the forefront of progressive, shitlib values being pushed into entertainment.
Can't you stop your lips from flapping for 2 little minutes?
It didn't matter how much we told them that we didn't want to hear their crap. It didn't matter to them at all when we said that we just wanted to play video games and not have all the messaging, rubbed in our faces like a dirty diaper, The Last of Us 2 stands as a perfect testament to everything that Naughty Dog has become in recent years, taking a beloved older game franchise, hollowing it out by killing one of the primary characters.
Yeah, didn't they base the story of The Last of Us 2 on like Middle Eastern politics from like 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, something like that? I heard something about it. I did a video on it.
That everyone identified with, and then forcing players to use the roided out woman that killed him in order to prove some kind of progressive point that women can do everything that men can do, and if you didn't enjoy using Abby, and if you didn't agree with Ellie sparing Abby at the end of the game, then apparently that was just you being some sort of misogynist.
I'm glad that I watched, I think it was Jacksepticeye play this, and I don't remember him having a great time.
Guilty on all charges, Your Honor.
And of course, they injected LGBT relationships all over the story of The Last of Us 2, and in the Last of Us TV show.
Usually I watch all the gaming TV shows and gaming movies. I skipped this one. I even watched the Halo TV series.
They had entire episodes that were basically all about same-sex relationships.
Yep, no thanks.
This is a studio that has made it their priority to lecture the world about left-wing social justice shit at every turn.
Everybody's always gay with you.
So my question...
And I don't even care if the story's good, but if that's what the story... You basically had an agenda and then you made a show around it.
The question then is, why the hell did this just happen? The image on the screen here comes from a little clip that has been circulating on social media, which comes directly from Naughty Dog themselves in a video celebrating their 40th anniversary. And in the image, you can see a person with a shirt that has a blurred out image on the front, and everyone has noticed that this image looks very much like a rainbow pride flag of some kind.
And it definitely looks like a rainbow person, if you know what I mean.
The gal wearing the shirt certainly looks like someone who would support that cause. So once again, I have to ask, why? For what reason would Naughty Dog suddenly have to hide something that they have strongly...
Because the culture has shifted.
...embraced so recently. And the optimistic side of me is hoping that
the agenda doesn't work if there's no money to be made behind it. Like, if you're going to lose out on money, that's what I've been saying this whole time. It's all just corporate bullshit, and they're only marketing, man. They're pandering to a market, and once that market that they're pandering to, they realize it doesn't exist, they just drop all of it.
The answer is that they want to distance themselves from this. In other words, I'm hopeful that they have decided to flee this crap.
Get me the hell out of here!
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video. Now have some for future
Knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Alright though, let's talk about this blurred out image from Naughty Dog and the implications that this might have. Now, on the one hand, let's be real here, there may be something else that was printed on the shirt that they didn't want their brand associated with. Maybe there was profanity or something like that on the shirt, but it really does look like a rainbow.
By the way, for a company that releases M-rated games.
Symbol. I'm going to let you see it for yourself though in live action and let you decide what you think it is. Let's look at the actual clip from this video that has been circulating around, and then we will talk about it some more.
Meaning?
That is the core of our craft, is authenticity.
I know our studio will continue to create amazing story-driven, character-based games that touch upon the human experience.
Like I said, to me, that definitely looks like a pride rainbow symbol, and if that is the case, then the question is, why the hell would they do this? Why would they hide that? And the answer is, in my view, that they have likely finally noticed the effects of their incessant activism.
Or it's a logo that's got a rainbow on it, and they just can't show a logo because it's corporate. I mean, that's also viable. But this situation definitely doesn't look good. You should have known, even if that was the case, not to wear a rainbow. Like, you get what you deserve, I guess.
and they want to be rid of it. This past spring, they really effed around and found out with Season 2 of The Last of Us TV show. Take a look at the Rotten Tomatoes score for the second season. The audience absolutely hated it as soon as the story from the first game ended and the story for the second game began. And if you look here, you can see that even the mainstream media had to admit, after a month or so of trying to build it all up and make the show sound like it was just as popular as ever, they had to admit in the mainstream media that the viewership for the show tanked, which it absolutely did. People checked out.
Alabama John said he wants to talk with you right now. He is also live on Rumble. Hey, I'd love to talk, man. Probably not tonight, but definitely like schedule something.
Out of the show for a variety of reasons. They hated what was done to Joel. They hated the constant, obnoxious, in-your-face LGBT elements, with Ellie doing
Tell him to hit me up on X.
Stupid shit like saying, "I'm gonna be a dad." And on that subject, everyone quickly realized that the potato, aka Bella Ramsey, does not have the screen presence to be an action star. She looks hilarious on screen, firing guns and pretending to be some kind of a badass. In a nutshell, all of the stupid shit from that second game, which gamers hated on for years, was revealed to be hated by the general audience as well. For a long time, Naughty Dog got to hide behind the cover of the millions of copies that The Last of Us 2 sold when it came out, saying that anyone who didn't like the game was clearly just some fringe minority because we sold millions of copies. But
dude, I so fucking hate whenever companies are like, hey man, everybody who doesn't like this, you're just haters, and then that all criticism is just labeled as that. And that's how you get shit like this. That's how you get bullshit, and that's how you get owned on the fucking internet, is whenever you just call all of your critics haters. And instead, like, the real critics is who you follow, but the people who actually play the stuff are just being haters whenever they criticize. Like, come on, get fucking real. Like, who are you selling the game to? People or the critics?
Reality. There were a ton of people who were fooled into buying that game. There were a ton of people who didn't listen to warnings and bought the game because they loved the first one so much and they regretted their purchase right after buying it. That second game.
I'm a poor boy. I have always been a poor boy. I don't have money to just be buying video games that suck, or video games that I don't want, or video games that are going to burn me. So I do a lot of research before I buy games. I've been heavy into the gaming culture for a very long time, probably since I was about 14 years old.
Rode on the coattails of the first game quite clearly. In fact, that second game though was so despised that if they ever do make a third Last of Us game, it will be very interesting to see how well that game ends up selling. I think that they would find that The Last of Us 2 would take a chunk out of their hide, so to speak. And that is why I think they might be distancing themselves.
I think a third one might sell very well, probably better than the second one, but not better than the first one. I'll tell you that. It's probably going to be even more hated than the second one.
From the rainbow flag. Keep in mind that such a decision might very well be coming from Sony and not Naughty Dog. They likely aren't very pleased with how all the politically controversial shit affected Ghost of Yote, and I suspect that Sony may want to bail on this sort of thing moving forward. And if you want...
A bunch of companies are already. I see it. I see the writing on the wall.
Another example as to why they might feel that way, look no further than the most recent Naughty Dog game that was just announced last year at the Game Awards, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet. The initial reception to this trailer here, featuring the bald and uglified woman, well, you can see that it was not very good. The trailer was released on the official PlayStation channel, and down here you can see that it got 3.1 million views in almost a year, and just behold that glorious...
I'm thinking that this is going to be a Star Wars Outlaws situation.
This ratio, which was damn near 3-1, they got 118,000 likes and just a smidgen over 300,000 dislikes. And just look at the comments on this thing. They sell hair as a separate DLC. from the studio that got rid of all the people who originally made those games you loved as a kid and that we will still take credit for.
Right?
You can really tell this.
Same with all these companies, man. Like, they are not the same companies that we grew up with. A lot of people like to treat them that way, like to not even think about it. They hear Bungie and they want to play the next Bungie game because they loved Halo. It's like, these are not the same people.
Started production in 2020. And yeah, the comment section makes it quite clear that people were not happy with the look of this game. They ripped Naughty Dog apart for their blatant wokeness this past...
It's really sad, man. I hope this game is great. I really do, and I hope all the political nonsense is not in it. I doubt that it isn't, but I really hope, because I like a lot of these vibes. It really reminds me of the 1980s, and it seems like they're not using Unreal Engine, while everybody right now is using Unreal Engine, and everything is poorly optimized. Hopefully we get something good out of this, but I'm not getting my hopes up.
Summer, the actress who plays the main character in this game, very snidely declared that we were gonna buy this game anyways.
So yeah, and I feel like
People are gonna not buy it just because you said that.
those same people that were hating are gonna play that game, and guess what? They're gonna love it. So they can be mad.
I'm probably gonna watch Asmongold play it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't believe Sony shares this woman's optimism, and I have to say that this blurred image on the shirt is at least a little encouraging. Unfortunately for Naughty Dog, though, distancing themselves from that messaging is not going to save Intergalactic, the same way that it will not save the Last of Us TV show moving forward. What they have to do now is sow the seeds for a future beyond those games and shows, and hope that eventually they can win back the goodwill of the fans. But I'm going to leave it there.
They're gonna have to make major changes. I don't think they can do it. I think the company is either going to completely collapse, or they're going to start getting sold off very, very soon. When I say soon, I mean like within the next 5 years. If they don't do something, man. I don't think Intergalactic is going to save them. And once they are on their own, I think, and Sony's just like, nope, go get fucked, man. Then I think maybe we'll get something great. But I don't know, man. All the corner cutting, that's really what did it. The corporate bullshit and the pandering just completely cooked them, man. Don't get political. Don't get mad on the internet. I don't know what else to say. All right, I'm back. Can the Outer Worlds 2 save Obsidian? I don't think so, man. I think probably Microsoft will keep them alive for a while, and they'll probably, what you'll see is a bunch of layoffs, and then they'll just replace people. That's probably how this is going to go.
My dudes, get your loops! It just keeps happening! Obsidian has just released The Outer Worlds 2, and Xbox once again had the balls to give me a key. And this is after my not-so-happy review of Avowed.
How do you get a key? I want a key. I want keys to these games.
Thanks for the key, Xbox. But you know what? You gotta respect the hustle, and I've said it before.
I probably would enjoy it more than the creation bullshit from Fallout 4 that just happened.
But I'm a sucker for open world RPGs. But
Same.
to tell you the truth, I didn't even bother with the first game. It just looked like a worse Fallout, and I was saving my deep
It kind of was. It was better in some ways, worse in some ways.
space RPG load for Todd Howard Starfield, which sadly just left me with the worst blue balls I've ever had. What the hell were you thinking, Todd?
We haven't really been eating good on the open world RPGs in a while. I think the last good one was Baldur's Gate 3. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Get out of here. I never want to see you again. Todd, wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get mad at you. You just make me so angry sometimes, and I can't control my emotions. Please come back inside and keep working on the Elder Scrolls 6. Alright, now look, I used to be a huge fan of Obsidian, but after playing Avowed, my expectations going into the Outer Worlds 2 were pretty damn low. The biggest issue I had with that game was just how mid it was. You can barely interact with anything.
I think the only thing I've actually played from Obsidian was Fallout New Vegas, and I fucking loved that game.
or anybody in the world. Not that you would want to, with how ugly they made the NPCs. This wasn't an accident. You have to go out of your way to make something this bad. What is this, a black Mexican?
Fried chicken tacos, motherfucker.
But the worst part about Avowed was the writing. Almost every single dialogue was the same thing. Some wussy-ass dude paired with a strong, independent woman that puts him in his place because I don't need no man. But hey, maybe the Outer Worlds 2 is different.
The Astrogator's gears are shot!
I love Scouter V's editing.
Why are you gay?
Damn it. Here we go again. I've always been honest with you dudes, and that's never gonna change.
I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it sounds. I hate the characters. It's color slop. The color slop really pisses me off more than anything. And it's got the trans colors everywhere.
The Outer Worlds 2 is a huge step up.
You'll notice all the purples, teals, and whites
from Avowed. And I know people are trashing on the game because of the previous drama surrounding Xbox and Obsidian, but I'm not gonna do that here. I gave this game an honest chance, and the Outer Worlds 2 isn't that bad. Hell, I actually
solid 7 out of 10. I still hate the way the characters look.
Agree with the Metacritic score. It's about a 7 out of 10. But what's stopping it from being any higher are all the terrible decisions Obsidian made that's holding it back. And these issues could easily be fixed if they actually got some talent on their writing and art teams. And trust me, I'm gonna get into that. But first, I gotta call out the stupidity of Xbox and how they force every single one of their studios that have a character creation option to alienate normal people by pushing the
I'm fine with having the old creators from the old Fallout games. You barely even mess with it. All the characters are just bad anyway. But they've gotten worse, I think. I'd rather look at the old Fallout models than any of this new. They look like they're made out of Play-Doh.
Stupid body type 1, body type 2 nonsense. I'm sick of it, but hey, at least they got rid of pronouns. Maybe Xbox is healing. But seriously, the game starts out with this cringe scene of this female character that slaps her sissy male colleague in the face. I made a tweet about it.
Dude, I'm so tired of the masculine females. It's fine if you got 1 or 2, because that's usually in your everyday life, maybe how many masculine females you see. But when they're all masculine females, what the fuck are you doing?
It looks like it went a little viral, and rightfully so, because people are sick of double standards and bad writing. How is it a double standard?
And all the dudes look like they're feminine. They're feminized. Even the ones that are supposed to be masculine, they still look really pretty.
Well, let's be honest here.
Pretty.
No AAA gaming studio would ever show a scene where a dude is giving a woman the old Sean Connery.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
I think it's absolutely right.
Based.
Absolutely.
Wait till people see this interview. Are you going to get mail?
Might get some female.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really even care that she slapped.
I love James Bond. Also, Zardoz.
I just find it annoying that current day movies and games have no problem with showing women being violent towards men and treating them like crap because they think it makes women look stunning and brave. But these same people would raise hell if the roles were reversed. We've even seen gaming companies go back and change dialogue and entire scenes because they want to censor anything remotely close to this. And if you don't believe me, Square Enix removed the iconic scene where Eris got a little slappy. And then they added scenes where Scarlet treats men like shit and forces them to walk around on all fours. It's a bunch of bullshit.
What
now
the
I
fuck?
want to talk about something even more
controversial.
Yeah, I like
want you dudes to
controversy.
sit down and really think, why are these two people in the scene white? Do you think it's just a coincidence? Wrong. It's because if this dude was anything but white, the purple hairs would complain that it looks bad.
Wait, is that a dude? Hold on, that's a dude? I thought that was a chick. Damn it. See, this is what I'm talking about.
If a white person was slapping a minority, so we can't have
I thought it was just a lesbian.
that. This dude's race is set in stone. But then why didn't they turn the girl into Deborah Wilson or
That straight up, it looks like a woman, does it not?
bald ass thing from Intergalactic?
I think he's
that's
wrong.
That's not gonna work either because now they're portraying minorities as too violent. The only way Obsidian or any other AAA studio can make a scene like this is if it's a white girl slapping a white guy. And once you realize this, you're gonna start to see how common this
It's a masculine female slapping a feminized male.
style of writing is in modern gaming, or movies for that matter. But is the whole game like this? No. There's actually some fun to be had here. If you're able to look past the Cocoa Melon color palette and what I think to be
That's my biggest problem. I don't think I'll be able to look past that unless I get mods that fix the colors. because that color slop, no thanks, man.
Some of the ugliest companions in RPG history. No joke.
Yeah, ugly ass characters. Yeah, Dragon Age of Veilguard levels.
This game gives Dragon Age the Veilguard a run for their money. At least they put a cute Asian in it. Not busty, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Look, I'm sorry, Obsidian, but no, I don't want to team up with a woman who sells tamales outside of Walmart at 10 p.m. or this 2006 Oblivion-looking NPC with a damn baby arm growing out of her back.
What the fuck?
Ugh, kill him with fire! Here's the thing though, I gotta give props when it's deserved. They gave you the power to boot any party member you don't like. So you know I started with Miles, the bootleg Barrett. I know what you're all thinking here. Black and disabled? Where have I seen that before? Honestly though, this dude wasn't that bad. But he couldn't stop bugging me to do some side quest to meet up with his boyfriend or some shit.
Reckon we could drop by and pay him a visit. Brief one, of course.
Sorry man, we don't got time for that.
This is important to me. And not to be cheeky, but I did save your life.
Still not happening, bro. You can shut up now.
I can't believe we left Paradise Island without at least checking in on Zeb.
Dude, holy hell, man.
He's too smooth. He's too smooth and he's too woman-like.
A hint. I don't want to do your damn...
Like, if they said that this was a woman, I'd believe them.
West.
Yeah, you've made that abundantly clear.
That's it, man. Get the hell out of here. You're gone.
Like, switch the voice to something a little bit higher pitched. I think that they could pull off this being a woman.
What? Where's this coming from?
Then Mama Coco started running her mouth about it.
Have to say, disagree with your decision about Niles.
So I took it upon myself to get her deported. You gotta stop the flood. But get this, not only can you get rid of team members, but you can actually kill any NPC. So I started reading the universe of anybody that looked like they had an active account on Blue Sky. Green hair, bam! Update your bio, bitch. Were. Is that an albino black dude? Somebody actually went out of their way to make a DEI shiny. Nintendo's gonna get me if I use a Pokeball, so let's try the next best thing.
Yeah, also, very clean, very pretty, very feminized.
DEI shiny. Nintendo's gonna get me if I use a Pokeball, so let's try the next best thing. Okay, real talk. I know
The more I see about this game, the more I don't want to get it. And I did want to get it. I was on board, but I think this wishy-washy, me being on board, me being not on board, I think I'm not going to end up getting this game ever. I didn't end up getting the first one, even with mods. I played some mods on somebody else's PC, but they didn't have any good ones.
Giving this game a hard time, but I honestly don't hate it, and I don't blame anybody that wants to play it. If you want to give it a shot, I recommend playing it like an asshole. Kill everybody and ignore the writing. You might have some fun here. And like I said in my Avowed review, whoever they have on their team that works on the technical side of combat and movement knows how to do their job. I was running around parkouring on everything like a Kenyan in the Matrix. But I'm wondering, why is this game doing so badly on Steam? Avowed capped out at 19,000, and that was before Xbox announced their price increase.
Avowed did better. Probably because they had better marketing for a little while, and they had an actual like pushback marketing campaign. But this time they kind of shit all over that by calling everybody haters. I mean, they called everybody haters before, but this time it was really bad.
On Game Pass, so they can't use that as an excuse. Whatever it is, you know you got a problem on your hands when your sequel is putting up worse numbers than the first title.
And I think that's the problem too with between it and Avowed. Avowed was not a sequel, it was a new IP, and people were interested in it, and it was being kind of advertised as like a Skyrim killer, not by Obsidian, I don't think. I think that was just people on social media running that campaign. But still, that's what they kind of marketed it as on social media. And Outer Worlds 2 was supposed to be like a Fallout New Vegas, and it definitely is not.
A lot of people are saying it's because of all these weird statements made by Avowed's art director, Matt Henson. But what I think was even more damaging were all the videos comparing Avowed to old games like Oblivion that showed the lack of attention to detail and effort that was put into that game. And it looks like they took it personally because a lot of the things people complained about, like how you couldn't shoot birds in the sky, or
I had somebody say that you should compare it to Diablo 4, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. It was like a first-person Diablo 4. Yeah, it definitely was, dude. Couldn't do shit.
Put bullet holes in the walls. They're all possible here. But even though this game is an improvement over Avowed, I don't know if it's gonna sell well enough to turn a profit. And based off the numbers we're seeing, it's not looking good for Obsidian. And the only way to fix this is if Xbox gets in there and starts getting rid of all the poor writers and these people that keep pushing for a
And it's coming. It's coming.
that looks like Fruity Pebbles. And if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised if we
Like,
hear
they're bleeding money right now. They got to do something. They're gonna do something.
another once legendary studio getting closed down. But hey, when's the
It won't
last time
happen.
a studio
I don't think they're gonna shut it down. I think they'll just fire everybody and rework it.
actually listen to their fans? Hey dudes, I just want to say that I've been going hard
From Software, I think. I think they do pretty good about listening to the fans.
on videos for a little bit over a year, and it's been a fun ride. You might have noticed, but I've been slowing down a little bit over the past few months, and that's because I took out a small loan to work on a game with a small group of people. And the goal is to launch
Yeah, I've been keeping up with it in his Discord.
Kickstarter 6 to 8 months from now. Currently, we're still working on the engine, so I can't really show any gameplay yet, but I will as soon as I can. Until that's ready, we've been working on a ton of
It definitely seems like something I'd be into.
in-game assets, art, and UI elements for the game.
I like the retro stuff.
And I just gotta say, things are really coming together. And this isn't gonna be a small game either. I wanna make the first open world JRPG that has the freedom of Skyrim, but with a focus on monster tame that should blow Pokemon out of the water. Which, let's be honest, shouldn't be that hard. What the hell even is this? So why am I doing this? Well, to be honest, I really wanna make gaming great again. And while I would love to just sit here and make funny videos to make you guys laugh, unfortunately, YouTube thinks my content is too edgy. And they really don't push my videos into the algorithm, no matter what I seem to do. And after spending over 50 hours on editing just to see this, you gotta start making changes. So moving forward, I'm still gonna be making content, but instead of just focus on complaining about the gaming industry, I wanna bring something special to you guys. And if you're interested in helping on art, or if you're a coder that has experience with Lewis scripts, hit me up on Discord. I'll have the link in the comments below. Anyways, I gotta get back to work. Peace.
Yeah, man, Scouter V is awesome. I like his videos. It's too bad that YouTube basically just shits all over him, doesn't send his content out. Send it out to me, but that's because I checked the subscriptions box. So I don't know who Oscar Isaac is, and I don't know if I should. Oscar Isaac won't work with fascist Disney because of Jimmy Kimmel? Excuse me, what? I don't know if I'm reading this wrong, but is it like, are they on Jimmy Kimmel's side, or this person, Oscar Isaac, is this person on Jimmy Kimmel's side or against him? I don't understand. I guess that's really good clickbait.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And for some damn reason, we're going to talk about Disney's Star Wars.
Oh, he's on the side of Jimmy Kimmel. Of course, I should have known. Who is that? Oscar Isaac? I never heard of him. I'm also not a big fan of Star Wars. Well, new Star Wars. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. Just like all of the old games, all of the old movies.
We're going to talk about
the Clone Wars. I love the Clone Wars animated show.
Oscar Isaac saying that he wasn't so open to working with Disney after the Jimmy Kimmel suspension. But if Disney doesn't become full fascists, he would be open to maybe coming back.
Fire him. Don't let him come back. Fuck him.
Yeah, so I think he's going his press tour for Frankenstein, which I kind of want to see, by the way.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I want to see that. But in among the comments, yeah, he said...
I can tell you what I'm not watching. Anything new, probably.
That he'd be on board Disney as long as they don't succumb to fascism over the Jimmy Kimmel thing. Because they keep running with this narrative that it was fascism. And I'm trying to figure out how it was fascism, because, you know,
it's fascism because the media says so, and people on social media parrot that opinion.
Said things they shouldn't have said. The advertisers got mad and pulled.
Yes,
Disney
the advertisers
panicked.
got mad.
Disney panicked and they pulled. Well, suspended temporarily. They didn't like cancel it completely. And I mean, we said at the time that we thought Disney's reaction was an overreaction. So, you know, the advertisers were the ones who pulled, and the people that carried the network were the ones that pulled initially. And then Disney's response, because anything money or bad PR is like kryptonite.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, they then suspended the show temporarily, and everybody was mad about it, and they all were
Dude, like, fuck them. I don't know what else to say.
demanding to turn it back on. And I mean, at the time, we even said, you know, what he said was shit, but, you know, Disney's reaction was an overreaction. And, they turned it back on, but now there's this narrative that it's because Disney sided with fascists.
I think we need to go back to, if celebrities are being political, they get shamed everywhere in every space, and basically let's gray list them. Don't get political. Stay in your lane, bro.
because of the FCC
Disney's
license.
fascists.
And I'm like, look, you know what they said.
Like you don't know anything. You know how to act in movies.
He said
Stick
was
to
shit,
that.
and his apology was dog shit. But you know, they turned it back on. It's been resolved, and then now
Basically, all I hear from these people is like, I'm very angry at things. Listen to me because I'm better than everybody else. That's why I'm in the position that I'm in.
he's still going on that I'll come back to Disney, but only if they promise basically never to do that again. And it's
Oh my God.
And I think Disney was looking for an excuse to get rid of Kimmel anyway.
Yeah, that's the theory. People are like, you know, his ratings aren't great. He costs a lot, and late night TV is winding down. It definitely is. But let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, rants, guys. Yeah, woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
You still have a little bit of time yet if you want to back Geeky's Kickstarter. We're going to close out here once we basically run out of pins. So if you go out to Kickstarter and back Geeky Sparkles, Christmas Party Glitter Retro Enamel pins, you know, we're going to leave that open for a little bit yet. I know some people wanted to add to their campaign, but as I understand it with Kickstarter, once the campaign closes out, you can't do that anymore. So we've had some people write us. We'll see if we can figure another solution out if you want that geeky pin. Okay. All right. So this is coming from Variety. Oscar Isaac was not so open to working with Disney after Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, said he'd return to Star Wars if Disney does not succumb to fascism.
Gosh, I wish these people would learn the definition of fascism.
Why would they? Yeah, I know, right? This is just like so. I don't even understand why they're still entertaining the idea of going back to the sequel trilogy when it's obvious that is what destroyed Star Wars.
Well, I don't know if
Why do they keep trying? Why do they keep making Star Wars stuff? It's obviously not really working, and the longer it goes on, the worse it's gonna get. Because they just keep releasing trash after trash after trash. And sure, some of it makes money, and sure, some of it's not trash. But when you look at the grand scope of the IP, of all of the lore and everything, it's just completely fucking shattered.
they actually said they were going to bring him back for anything. I think he just asked.
To the point where there's actually a thing in the Star Wars community that's like before Disney acquired Star Wars and after Disney acquired Star Wars.
Basically, you know, would you come back? And he says no.
So
well, he said.
By the way, you should join my Patreon because I'm making something similar to Star Wars and Star Trek and all of that kind of Borderlandsy, my own lore. I'm building a whole world, and if you want to see all of the pieces as they get released, you know, before I do a full release of the entire project, you should definitely join the Patreon because that's where I'm posting everything that I'm doing involving that.
Yes, he'd be open as long as he didn't have fascism.
Yeah, like, look, I like Oscar Isaac as an actor, but like so many people in Hollywood, I
don't know who he is. Never heard of him.
I like to watch their performances. I don't like to watch them be performative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in these interviews and you know, do all the politics and to get the fist bumps and the whole.
According to these people, and like literally anybody right or far left is a fascist.
Yeah.
So I mean, what does it even? When I say what does it mean? I mean, what does it even mean anymore? Because basically anybody who doesn't agree with me is a fascist or Hitler or something stupid. So it's not even. They're not even using the true meanings of the words anymore.
Yeah, it's no.
That's because they're lying and they're pretending they have any idea what's going on. But really, they're just pushing the corporate talking points.
They don't know. It's basically, I don't like your politics, therefore you're a Nazi. And this has been going on for at least 10 years now. And it's gotten so much worse since Trump came back. Actually, I was pleasantly surprised when he first got reelected that they weren't all losing their shit except for Mark Hamill. Maybe it's just a Star Wars thing, right? But they weren't all losing their shit. And then like within a couple of months, I think once the shock wore off, oh my God, he's back. How? Somehow Trump has returned.
Yes, here they come.
Back in the day, back when I was a kid, the news media and the Hollywood media were not as well connected. And I was always seeing the news media constantly shitting on the Hollywood media and like shitting all over celebrities. And it just doesn't happen anymore because the news media got too big and Hollywood media got too big, got international. It really all started happening whenever everybody was making movies for China. But anyway, it's like some kind of force took over. Probably Satan.
Somehow Trump has returned. And then now then they got Blue Sky and they're just like letting it all hang out, right? But yeah, so he told Variety in August before the world premiere of Frankenstein at the Venice Film Festival he was more than open to returning as Poe Dameron in a Star Wars movie. Well, they have the Rey movie coming up, which I still don't understand why.
I don't even know if they're going to do it. Every time I turn around, it's like getting pushed back or something else. I'll believe it when I see it kind of situation.
But returning to the Disney-owned franchise got a little more complicated for Isaac just a few weeks later when Disney-owned ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air over comments he made about the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. Again, you need to clarify the reason they did that was that the advertisers and the stations basically canceled Jimmy Kimmel, and Disney capitulated to that. But if the advertisers hadn't threatened...
The FCC, and it's like, well, I guess the guy did make some comments about the FCC should investigate it. But nothing ever came of it. They never, the station said they never got a call from them. They never got any kind of, any communication from the FCC at all. They chose it on their own.
In a new interview, yeah, I know, right? A new interview with GQ magazine. Of course, it's GQ. This is the.
I want more of this energy. I want more of these freaks to not be working for people like Disney. I want normal shit again. Like I want the pre-Wreck-It Ralph Disney back.
Same GQ that interviewed Sydney Sweeney and tried to get her to.
I loved Disney around the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody time. That was like peak Disney.
Her Nazism over that stupid jeans ad that they made into a big ass deal, which wasn't a big ass deal. That's what you need to have, big ass jeans.
Big ass
big girls
jeans.
and big ass jeans.
Yeah. Wait. Say that whole thing again. That's why I need to have a brand called you're right.
They need to have big ass brand jeans. Big ass with like little dollar signs and like glitter, like, my ass is big. Deal with it. And then that's you can do a whole marketing campaign.
I don't know what the fuck they're talking about right now.
I want mine to be like big bunny jeans or something like that.
Big bunny jeans?
Yes, kind of like bunnies, and the little cheeks look like butt cheeks, and it's like the Playboy bunny, but for fat women. So, no, I just like bunnies.
Chubby bunny. Wasn't that a challenge with the kids eating the marshmallows or something? The chubby bunny challenge.
I have no idea.
Yes.
Chubby bunnies.
It was.
There you go.
This is neither here nor there. So let's just talk about what we need to talk about.
All right. In a new interview with GQ, Isaac was asked about returning to Star Wars and had this new clarification to add. Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to it, although right now I'm not so open to working with Disney.
And you shouldn't be. Fuck Disney.
But if they can figure it out and, not succumb to fascism, that'd be great. If that happens, then yeah, I'd be open to having a conversation about a galaxy far away or any number of other things. As long as they're not fascists, I'm like, well, it's going to be really interesting to see what some of these people...
By him saying that he wants them to stop being fascists, he means stop having the opposite politics, stop being on the side of the people who are with Trump, or just like America. They don't have to be with Trump. They just have to be pro-America. But he's actually, what he wants is real fascism. It's a lie. It's propaganda.
Or say once that Disney park opens in Dubai, because they're flipping out about the Saudis buying into video game companies. Now there's talk that the Saudis might buy into Warner Brothers, and that
they keep driving people to Israel and Saudi Arabia by being completely against those things. And that's, you're turning Saudi Arabia and Israel into the counterculture. What the fuck are you doing?
There's like a $70 billion all cash offer on the table for Warner Brothers. And suddenly Tim Drake will be straight again.
Yes, I know, right? But, it's just funny to me because it's like there's been actual instances. You see, if Disney's fascist, and so are a bunch of places in Hollywood that have done similar things on the opposite side, but it never works in reverse. It only works one way. But this is really stupid. You're out there doing a press tour for Frankenstein, and you just basically said anybody...
Yeah, they can't help themselves. These freaks can't help themselves but to be political and talk about things they know nothing about.
Who thought that, it was right to cancel Jimmy Kimmel for saying something stupid as a fascist. That's basically what you just said. It probably would be best not to open your mouth. I don't know. These people just don't think.
Well, it's probably, again, it's GQ, so they're probably like, well, I'm reading the room, and GQ wants to hear all the anti-Trump stuff. So I'm gonna signal.
Exactly.
And it's not going to go well because I guarantee you there are people in Hollywood right now that are taking note.
These people, they're all about being in the vibes of one another, which is basically just a fucking cult. But they will spout the same bullshit, and they will get worse. They will go in circles and circles and circles and just get worse about it and say the most nonsensical bullshit.
Notes about, we're going to talk later about Paramount and what's going on with the animation. And I guarantee you, if he thinks he can jump from like Disney to Paramount and be like, yeah, as long as they're not fascist, well, the Ellisons who run Paramount are now Trump's besties. So it's going to get harder and harder.
These companies need to be careful, man, because if they don't stop and if they don't turn around and just get normal again, they're going to get replaced.
For a lot of these people find
I've already replaced them.
Anybody who doesn't align with them politically the
Yes.
entire way to the extreme that they think they should be aligned with is a fascist, according to these people.
Or you could do what people have done for decades, where you basically do your job, get your paycheck, and then on your personal time, you can go out there and do an activism if you want to.
I know, but this is really dumb. Like, you're doing a press tour and for a movie that you just now wouldn't shot your mouth off.
You've just made it political. You've just made it political. Yeah. So, yeah, they're talking about in his September 15th monologue, shortly after Kirk's suspected killer was arrested, Kimmel quipped, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the Maggie gang trying to characterize this kid who killed Kirk as anything other than one of them." The line got the late night host suspended. Wasn't.
I think that was probably part of it, but I don't think that was the whole pie.
Okay, that's an oversimplification. Again, anybody who actually looks into it, the media keeps running with it like, well, Disney just decided to push the button.
Well, nobody wants to look into it. Everybody just wants to see what everybody else that they like or everybody they agree with is saying online, and they're just going to say that.
And cancel. No, what happened was the advertisers and the station owners complained, and they put the pressure on Disney, and then Disney, suspended him because they're like, we don't know what else to do.
And the only reason they unsuspended
They've got top of the mind info on it. They've got info that just exists at their face, at face level, and that's it. And then they're just going to spout that. They don't understand things at a deep level. They say things without knowing anything about it and pretend they know. I see it all the time. I try and not argue with people in comments and replies. I try and just like show actual facts, but people just deny facts. And then whenever they post fake facts and I tell them that their facts are skewed or manipulated and I show them how, they just think that I'm the one that's skirting the facts. And it's just like, okay, you are finding the information right now as we're talking. I've been finding all this information and compiling it for years. Good luck.
him was because Hollywood was having a shit fit. And people were, I don't think people were canceling their subscriptions in enough numbers to warrant that. But I think they were conflating the canceling of the announcement of price hikes, which was going on around the same time, as the reason. But either way, it's just that they were strong armed into hiring back. I think they were just looking for a reason, and that gave them one.
Yeah.
And then they had to walk it back. That's my opinion.
Well, what's funny, though, is he's talking about, I remember this. I remember this a couple of years ago. He basically said the only way he'd return to Star Wars is if he needed another house or something. But he's not wrong. So I guess Moon Knight's off the table then, too, right? We're not doing any more Moon Knight.
Well, I don't know. At this point in time, I wouldn't work with him. He's going to be a problem.
Yeah. But yeah, he said he'd go back to Star Wars. This is in 2020. He'd go back to Star Wars if he needed another house. Isaac admitted to GQ, perhaps he should not have made such an opinion.
Dude, this is why these people are fucking hated, man. That is such a shitty thing to say. If I need another house or something, that is so disconnected from reality. That is so disconnected from the actual fan base. I think that if you're going to be a part of something like a big IP like this, you need to be an actual fan. I think there should be tests for these IPs, for these giant IPs, by law.
Public explaining, yeah, that was a real likable quote. You know, people ask you things, you say stuff, you don't really think about it that much. I said a slightly dickish thing.
Oh, wait. No, I think that was very dickish, personally, because it's like, maybe if I need another house. That's kind of really douchey, dude. Slightly dickish.
I am very surprised that he actually got the role of Moon Knight, given that, you know, he's making that comment, because it's basically like, I don't give a shit about this movie, but if I need another paycheck. I mean, look, Harrison Ford, same situation with Star Wars, right? He hates Star Wars. He said multiple times he hates.
Yep, fuck them all. If you don't like the thing that you're a part of, get lost.
Star Wars. I'm sure the paycheck was pretty damn fat to get him to come back, and they promised him they'd kill off Han Solo. Spoiler, they kill off Han Solo.
Imagine a regular person, who loves Star Wars, and like somebody having this attitude in your favorite thing. Like, come on, man.
But, you know, they could always bring him.
In every single corporate, like, company, corporate media entertainment thing, like Halo, with Halo, it's the same way. There are people involved in it who don't like Halo. They're just there. In every single corporate company, you always got people like this, just dragging everything down, and they're being pushed up to the top as like I don't even know, man. I don't even know. Just a bunch of corporate bullshit. It ruins everything. Whenever you get too big and it gets corporatized, this is what happens.
Back or something. Bring
people just in it for the money. Well, guess what? The money dries up if your heart ain't in it.
I don't know. I'm just like, obviously they didn't care about the fans on that one, but it was a slightly. I love it when. Okay, so you just got done saying anybody who thought that what Jimmy Kimmel said was wrong is a fascist, and then you were saying about the comment about the house was a slightly dickish thing.
Slightly dickish. Yeah, that was a dickish thing, but you know, but look, these actors, this is the thing. Back in the day, there used to be handlers at the studios that would make sure that their stars, since their stars were company assets, basically, that their stars would kind of be on a tight leash and they wouldn't say anything stupid when they go on, the press.
Now they just get a whole bunch of pandering yes men.
Right? They were coached on, and it was restrictive, but there's a reason why they did that.
They knew that people don't need to know about their personal opinions or politics or things like that. They knew that. Now that's all they want to talk about.
I mean, could you imagine Cary Grant?
That's all that there is on social media, so I could get it. They want to get in on it because everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody hates it. Nobody likes that anybody's talking about politics.
Thinks you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Betty Davis thinks you're a chud. I mean...
Oh, that's funny. She's
like,
looking
you
at you
basement dwelling neckbeards. It's like, I mean, at least some of the actors, like, I mean, they were very blunt about what they thought about people. That, you know, Orson Welles, I think, was very blunt. But like, you know, these people didn't get work. If you were difficult and you attacked the customer, you didn't get work for years. They're like, yeah, we can't let you off.
You attacked the company too. Hell no.
You attacked the company. Yeah, they had studio fixers. They were like, you again, Hail Caesar, damn good movie. Watch it, highly recommend it. But they had guys that basically would keep these stars in line because they're like, yeah, if you cause a scene or you have a scandal or something, you're going to cost us money. And that was back then. And now it's even worse, right? I mean, it's like you can say one thing and you can just hear the money being bled out of the bank account. Like, shit.
Yeah, because people are tired of it. People are getting even more tired now than ever of politics being in the media. And it's getting worse. It's going to get to the point where there's going to have to be absolutely no politics at all. Used to old movies and stuff, they would like kind of hint at the fact that there was politics going on in the real world, but they would never really touch upon it. Sometimes they definitely would. But I think that's going to be lost going in the future because nobody wants to. Movies and games and shows and books, that's all supposed to be escapism, man. People don't want to read reality. People don't want to play reality that they're already living and to be reminded that everything sucks.
They just called everybody Nazis. There goes half our money this weekend.
Good. You don't need it anyway. Fuck you. I can't wait until all these corporate companies collapse or turn around. Nintendo's lawsuit over Palworld is being weaponized against it. Being weaponized against Palworld or Nintendo? Because I think that, fuck Nintendo. That's what I think. I don't think that they make anything good anymore. And even like their big, great games like the new Donkey Kong game and shit like that, that's few and far between. It is not enough to get me to buy into Nintendo. Especially with all the bad sentiment that they're putting out into the world around the emulation scene. I think that companies should start buying straight up into the emulation scene and start re-releasing their old games, man. Not even re-releasing. Just like release them and keep them there forever and just never remove them. But they want to keep making them unavailable so they can keep re-releasing and selling you new versions of them, better versions and bundles. And then they want to put DLC in it, and they want to put microtransactions in it. By the way, Nintendo is usually behind on everything. They're starting to put in a bunch of woke stuff into their games. And I think they're going to be starting to put microtransactions and bullshit in their games more and more and more and more. Coming very soon because they are bleeding money.
Wins that Palworld has been having recently against Nintendo and their ongoing crusade to destroy any and all competition, it's now come to my attention that there are some people out here who are claiming that the power of the internet, of the ordinary voices in this space, are somehow weaponizing their unity of disdain against megacorporations being bullies and labeling that as a bad thing. I'm being serious. This is kind of crazy, but this comes from Games Radar.
Yeah, it definitely should be seen as a bad thing that megacorporation's gonna megacorporation.
Plus, public outrage amidst Palworld lawsuit likely influenced new scrutiny of Nintendo's Pokemon patent.
Oh, it definitely
IP
did.
Expert speculates, but it's debatable if giving that power to people on the internet who scream loudly is good. You likely already know that.
Well, these people that scream loudly, by the way, I'm not screaming loudly. I am talking at a fairly common level. All these people who are screaming loudly are the people that want to buy your games.
Nintendo has been losing almost on every front when it comes to their Palworld lawsuit. They tried to use a patent for Pokeballs, that didn't work. They then tried to use a summoning mechanic, which thankfully recently got the ire of the entire American Patent Office, which is again a massive win because it was ridiculous. But now Games Radar interviewed a lawyer named Andrew Velzen, who's the whole thing about this video pretty much, who is also an intellectual property lawyer, you know, someone who works.
And now, because of all of this, Palworld, they're starting to release new things around Palworld. They're doing the thing that they should have been doing with Pokemon over at Nintendo, where they've got a Palworld dating simulator. That one's crazy to me.
Companies to ensure that their brands and such are kept under law so nobody can damage them. So this Andrew guy is a member of a law firm called MB.
Do you guys want another Pokemon Snap? What about a Let's Go Eevee Pikachu sequel?
EHB, and Andrew Velzen believes that the American Patent Office standing up and demanding answers from Nintendo over their lawsuit to be uncharacteristic of what a patent office should be doing in the first place. He said this to Games Radar. Only about 1% are actually started by the director like this one was. It takes something quite monumental, I think, for the United States Patent Office director to themselves initiate the process. Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? That such a lawsuit was taken priority due to the ramifications that were surrounding it. Why would that be seen as a negative in any single way? But according to Andrew Velzen, it was anything but that. He would then say this. However, given the recency of the patent, in addition to the sheer amount of public discourse and other surrounding factors, with the Palworld and Pokemon litigation, which has certainly been an area where the public has actively been commenting on it, the IP expert suggests that it's likely the amount of discussion that's going on in the public at least flagged it for him, the United States Director of Patents, as something to consider. So,
yep, the power of the internet is starting to make changes in the real world, man. That's so crazy. Like, all of the people that are on, or I said that wrong. All of the people in these corporations are online now because everybody's online. So when everybody's pissed off and talking shit about something, and a lot of them are fans, a lot of them want to be playing the Pokemon games, but they also want to play Palworld. They're just creating a divide where people are going to choose games like Palworld over Pokemon out of principle and out of spite.
Again, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that what you would want to see to happen? That the public are telling you guys whose job it is to protect these IPs in the first place? And much more, there is clearly unlawful use of the justice system that is being leveraged to ruin competition in what should be considered a free market. Like, I don't see how you could see this as a negative. The world is more connected than ever before via social media. This objectively means that
I can see how they see it as a negative. They see it as a negative because Nintendo is an old corporation, mega corporation, if you will. And Palworld, the people who made that game, are not.
that if things go wrong like they have with Nintendo and
These people are corporate freaks. They are going to take the corporate take every time.
Palworld, of course people are going to speak on it, but as you're seeing, this IP lawyer is not really believing that the public should have a say in how these sorts of things go down. In fact, we shouldn't really have any say.
I don't think it really is the public. I think it's the fans.
All according to them. As Games Radar puts it here, right now, it's not certain if the re-examination will lead to any of the patent's claims being altered, or potentially even revoked, but Velzen notes that it's interesting to consider whether this particular re-examination could be a harbinger of things to come in the future, or more of a one-off aberration from the patent office. Namely, could we see the public potentially influencing future action around other patents, and would that actually be a good thing? I would wager that it does, because let's be real, I don't want to dissuade or claim that the people who work in patent IP law are somehow inept at their jobs. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am going to say is that it is never a bad thing to have people.
Yeah, Nintendo doesn't want any competition at all, because then they would have to make their games better. If they had competition, they wouldn't be able to slop out games like the newest Pokemon.
Will seek out information that is technically also a boon to your work and could, in theory, let's be real, make your job infinitely easier. For example, I go on Twitter often. I also see things that I bookmark quite regularly that people discover about this game or that game. Objectively speaking, the existence of Twitter as a platform as it is right now is a boon, obviously, to someone who makes content like me. Because in a way, the actual content I cover can usually be filtered and also found by the means of thousands, if not millions of people daily, which obviously that is a far more effective way of discovering things than say one person doing it themselves. I wouldn't claim that content creation would be easier because it wouldn't be the truth. The same way with this Velzen IP lawyer guy. I think trying to push the idea that maybe the public shouldn't have as much sway when it comes to legal battles is honestly bogus. Because while true that the immediate entities at the heart of this sort of controversy is Nintendo and Pocket Pair. But let's also make
Pocket Pair, that's the company's name.
Something else very clear too, which is that the decision of whether this lawsuit is going to go in Nintendo's favor or not will not just have effects on Pocket Pair either. It will absolutely affect the outcome and the livelihoods of others.
You know who it's not going to affect? It's not going to affect China, because they don't give a shit about IP law. Oh man, you should see that whole lawsuit situation that had to do with Sony and I don't remember what company. It was the company that was trying to rip off Horizon Zero Dawn. They won. They're able to do that. They're able to, in quotes, rip off Horizon Zero Dawn now.
Other companies, if Nintendo was able to crush their enemies here by claiming that they somehow own any of these patent ideas, and by proxy that loss of creative expression and market competition by allowing Nintendo to control with an iron grip, would also then in turn make the future of what you and I can buy and play also get affected. So while I understand where this lawyer is coming from in a sense, they believe that the law should be dictated by only those that are sworn in to protect and uphold it. But ultimately, this sort of story and situation does not begin, nor will it end with Nintendo or with Pocket Pair. I'll say it plainly, okay? Nintendo cannot win this if we want a bright future. They cannot be allowed to, because the outcome of such a ruling would just be catastrophic, not just for Palworld, but the entire industry as a whole. If they can...
I have a solution. Just make games. Fuck them. Release it for free and take donations. They can't do anything about it.
Successfully convince courts worldwide that yes, they single-handedly own...
Maybe corporations and companies won't be able to do that, but indie developers, they definitely can.
...own the rights to all of these game mechanics and more. Video games, they are cooked full stop. I guarantee you, if Nintendo were to win this, they wouldn't stop here. It would just embolden them to then continue their IP crusade on anything they believe threatens their claim to the digital throne, if you will. And then at that point, you have to ask yourself if what is being presented here and what's the true cost of this IP war is something the public, that's you and me obviously, are allowed to even have a say in it or how to influence it. it. I'm not saying that I'm gonna slip a crisp $20 bill to a juror on the case, but I think if your job is to protect the IPs and the legacy of these companies and ensure that no one runs a monopoly of greed or say corruption, and you're also being given all the information that you need on a digital plate by not just me, but thousands of people online, how can you believe that any of this is somehow wrong when it isn't? This is something I honestly dislike about current, well, everything really. That somehow, if you don't have this diploma or certificate, it suddenly means that you're just not allowed to speak on things. Like,
I think that if you, in cases that's not like medical and stuff like that, if you have a diploma or a certificate that says you, for example, if you have a diploma or certificate that puts you into game journalism and you think that you know more and your voice matters more than regular people who don't speak about journalism and things and not in that world, like those people, those they are less in my mind than people who are just normal. Like, I'm gonna listen to Asmongold over some fucking game journalist critic. I don't trust them, especially after the IGN thing where they were like, well, we're gonna give things that don't have DEI in them a -1 to the score. So now that's just become a meme. Like, fuck those people, man.
I'll have people who will say, well, you're not a journalist, as if a piece of paper will dictate whether I understand what it means or not when it comes to what I report on this channel. Look at all of
journalists in general are just less reliable to me than streamers. What the fuck happened? I think it's always been this way, though. I think journalism and gaming and movies and stuff has always been garbage.
The so-called journalists in the industry who do have their so-called diplomas. You're telling me that Kotaku is suddenly more valid than me or maybe Asmongold or anyone else just because they got a piece of paper alongside their hair dye from their liberal arts professor? No, it means nothing. It means even less today. You are all the media now, objectively so. If you have a phone with a camera, which is pretty much all of you, yeah, you are now the media. So that any lie told, any truth spoken, you have the ability to speak your voice, whether...
Who was it? What was the publication that said 7 out of 10, too much water for Wind Waker? Ever since then, man, I've known.
It's in comment sections, in video formats, or anything else, it does not invalidate your opinion nor your ability to speak your mind on arbitrary numbers. Like, just because I have subscribers on YouTube, that does not mean that my voice is somehow worth more than, say, someone who has like 100 subscribers or less, you know? Everyone is valid. It also doesn't mean that just because someone has more subscribers than me, for example, that their word is somehow now better either. IGN has millions of subscribers.
I go for people who have similar taste as me.
And they white knight for the industry all of the time. It matters little, if at all, is what I'm saying. But I think with Palworld, I don't think what's happened would have happened without all of us honestly speaking our minds the way that we did. If we didn't speak up and say, hey, this stinks, we need to fix this, I mean, who knows? Maybe Pocket Pair would already be destroyed and gone by now, and that would be a terrible outcome for everyone besides Nintendo. But this idea that we're somehow not...
No, I think it would be terrible for Nintendo too, at least down the road, because then they're just going to keep making shit games. People are starting to get tired of it. They've been tired of it for a long time, and it's getting worse and worse.
Allowed to defend Palworld or any other game is honestly just stupid to me, but this IP lawyer would then say this: if the re-examination was indeed in response to public discourse and the vitriol against maybe what is perceived as inadequate patent examination or something, whether or not we see this more in the future is an interesting question. Velzen begins. If it turns out that enough commentators in the public decrying what they think is a patent that shouldn't have been issued, and they can sort of force the director's hand to look at more patents, I think there's an argument to be made whether or not that's a good thing. But again, Velzen, how is that not a good thing? Doesn't this just make your jobs easier in the long run? If the American Patent Office is being told by their citizens and international people that, hey, this patent is going to doom plenty of commercially viable products made in America, not to mention the rest of the world, then why, and
how do you make a game that's based in a city that looks worse than the old Pokemon show? Like Pokemon 2000 looks way fucking better than this. Or what was it? Well, it wasn't Pokemon 2000. What's the one I'm trying to think of where it takes place in like a water city?
Especially, how could this be seen as anything but a net positive for you? It just makes your job easier. It also tells you from the public's viewpoint,
Pokemon Heroes? Fuck, I don't remember, man.
what they deem to be noble and just, which most of the time is a good way of judging whether what you're fighting for in the first place is even worth it or not. To claim that the public having more power is a bad thing just sounds like tyranny to me. And it also sounds kind of tone deaf too. It's not like anyone is saying that Nintendo has to be erased. No. But can we at least agree that no single company should have the power to simply point at another company they don't like and immediately say we want them gone at all costs or else? That's not how democracy works. And that's not how any of this has or
That's how their democracy works.
will ever work in theory either. You can't really put that genie back in the bottle anymore. The public are going to speak on anything they want, and that's their right. But then Velzen says this: plenty of gamers are happy to take out their pitchforks and argue against things, especially, Redditors or what have you, he continues. And if that's something that can move the patent office to act, I think there are some
This guy's fucking retarded.
ways in which I could see that being valuable. And certainly it would feel like maybe that this is useful and kind of doing part of the patent office's job for them in calling out poor patents. Yes, exactly. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, he's portraying it as a bad thing.
You can't claim that this is not a net positive. You're literally making my argument for me there, Velzen. Your job becomes easier, and you're also then able to spend less resources and taxpayer money in order to triangulate exactly what you and your other lawyer friends should then be dealing with by having the public, like you said, do your job for you. Look, I don't even like Reddit that much, but even I can admit that them existing is to some capacity also good for at least the same reasons as Twitter. Because you have thousands if not millions of users across all niches filtering, finding, and discovering any and all kinds of stories for you to pay attention.
Notice how none of these people ever mention X either. Because, you know why? Because they're on X. That's why. Everybody's on X. But they never mention X, even though this is where most of the conversation around this kind of stuff happens.
To. It's like having self-automated Google searches constantly, but it's just actual users that are doing it instead. And then the public can also help in discovering faults in the logic of these companies too, which can also fast-track it. This is nothing but a positive thing to have. I don't know why they're against this, but then Velzen would say this: he's not completely
Well, they have to take the corporate take every single time.
convinced that this would be entirely beneficial.
They're always for the mega corporations, because if they're against the mega corporations, then they stop getting the free stuff.
Though on the other side of the coin, I don't think anyone would want to be in a regime where just because a handful of people on the internet scream loudly enough about something, it invalidates actual innovation and prevents people from pursuing things that are actually...
As a Pokemon fan, as a lifelong Pokemon fan, I'm still a Pokemon fan, just not the new stuff. But as a lifelong Pokemon fan, hearing that, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm gonna say whatever I fucking want to about the thing that I love and how shitty it's gotten because mega corporations gonna mega corporate.
Benefiting the gaming industry, Velzen suggests. So I think there's arguments to be had on both sides of that, and it'll be interesting to see if this plays out with more of these coming down in the future, or if this one is just a one-off case.
No, it's gonna get worse. It always gets worse. Every single time.
But how is this in any way a bad thing? Claiming that only a handful of voices should have power is wrong. Like I said, everyone has a voice. Sure, if Asmongold speaks on something, people will become more aware of it. That's obvious. But isn't that still a good thing either way? I guess if he brings attention to something that you disagree with him bringing attention to, it doesn't mean that it's still not objectively a good thing to happen. Because that's what healthy debate should...
No, people should be tricked into buying the corporate bullshit.
Should look like, even if someone I don't like on Twitter or something else says something. Them being able to speak their minds more often than not is...
they think that people hear Asmongold and they're like, well, I'm gonna take Asmongold's side because he's always right about everything. There's a reason why he's always right about everything. Is because he's actually right about when it comes to video games, most of the time he's on the nose, 100% on point.
Actually a good thing in the long run, mostly because it allows people to then see how insane and stupid they are by their own words, which if you ask me is kind of awesome and kind of hilarious too. But claiming that the people watching this or anyone on the internet shouldn't be listened to or be taken seriously because, again, they're not wearing a suit 24/7 or have a piece of paper on nice, framed in their office or something is just crazy to me. Like, Asmongold's a guy in his room, yet he has more reach than entire companies. Look.
Yeah, and the only agenda he has is just having fun. He just wants good things and to have fun.
what happened last year when players rallied up
That's what
against
I'm
the
here for.
nonsense in games 2.
I'm just all about having fun, man. I just want to play good games. That's why I play a lot of retro games. It's mostly retro games. And even Resident Evil 7 at this point, I think would be considered retro.
The game groups, the unions, the QA testers, the CEOs, even with their fat checks, none of that could stand up to the ordinary player just saying, no, I'm not buying your propaganda. And I think that's what this is really about. It's about gaslighting the users and the viewers out here to convince them that they have less power than they actually do, when in actuality, you have so much power it's ridiculous. Because again, when you're united against something, whether it's Nintendo being morons or companies pushing slop, your words will always matter. Velzen would state more in another Games Radar article because for some reason they split this interview into 2 separate articles, probably for ad revenue, but anyways, he states, whether or not it causes the director to initiate re-exams more often, I think is unlikely. Velzen begins. I don't think a director would say, well, this patentee had one questionable patent, so it's open season on their patents. I don't think that would happen. That's not to say that the re-examination going against Nintendo.
I know this is happening in Japan. It's also happening in America, by the way. They had some losses here in America. That basically everything that was happening in Japan was also happening here in America, and they lost it all. But I think that we need to rework the international IP laws and just IP laws in general, especially in America. I think we need to get rid of them pretty much. What I'm doing with my stuff is like, I'm releasing everything for free, and you can take it, do what you want with it. You can resell it if you want. I've got Astron Folly that I just like, you can go ahead and make your own thing, make fan fiction, pretend it's yours, and add more to it. I don't give a fuck, because people at the end of the day will find where I am, will find the things that I make, and will recognize that I made it. That's how it works. And they will give me money for it. And I'm not going to take money for all of the things that I make. I really want to release it all for free, and then people will just come to me and be like, okay, I like you, here's $10.
Couldn't have any wider impact though. After all, Velzen adds third parties can file these re-exam requests, and there are other proceedings at the US Patent Office or in US District Court where you can seek to have patents invalidated. He continues, I think it could embolden some competitors a little bit more to say, well, if Nintendo was willing to go broad enough on this patent and it was invalidated, maybe they've done so on other cases, and so maybe we could have stronger arguments against the patents than we thought in the first place. Exactly. And that's the point. It took Velzen a bit to get there, but he got there eventually. The point here is not to just destroy Nintendo. That's not it. The point is that if Palworld wins this, it will likely stop other companies from them trying to push similar things on other companies. And that is by definition.
Yeah, I don't want Nintendo destroyed, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind if they completely collapsed, because I have nothing to do with Nintendo, and that would just make it easier for emulation.
A good thing objectively, because companies should not be able to just push their will down on smaller studios simply because they don't like their games or see them as a potential threat. It's not fair.
Or people who are just trying to preserve games. That's my biggest qualms with Nintendo, is like they constantly squash game preservation.
It's stupid and it's wrong. This reminds me of the ongoing lawsuit against Sony and Tencent right now with Light of Matirum and the Horizon series. Here's Light of Matirum on screen here.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
As you can see, it looks a lot like Horizon Forbidden West and Zero Dawn. It has people in tribal...
Yeah, and didn't they basically just say like, you can't patent a vibe?
Like gear fighting robot dinosaurs. Obviously, Sony is now suing Tencent over this. It was also revealed that Tencent...
Probably because Horizon Zero Dawn is mid as fuck, and this is probably going to end up being better.
Originally came to Sony with a pitch for a Horizon game in the past. But when Sony shot it down, Tencent, I guess, just took that idea that they had and then turned it into their own game, but under a new name.
This looks a lot cooler than Horizon. Just saying.
Either way, Light of Matirum is coming. Probably not to PlayStation because of, well, the lawsuit, but as GamesIndustry.biz reported as seen here just in October 2025, Sony is angry at Tencent, claiming that Light of Matirum has done irreparable damage to the Horizon series.
Dude, more stuff like the more people shit on China releasing better games than them, the more that China's going to realize, oh, these companies don't like us, and we keep selling more and more and more. Let's keep doing this. Because it's just adding to the more fuel to the culture war flames.
by just existing already. The reason why I bring up Light of Materium in a video about Palworld and Nintendo and Pokemon is to show you like the difference between them. Whereas Palworld is its own thing like Temtem or others before it, Light of Materium, according to Sony anyways, has actively worked to confuse players and make them believe that this Light of Materium game is in fact...
I don't think anybody's confused about it. I think they legit just don't want their vibe to be taken and made it better. Like, they don't want to lose out on so much money.
Also a Horizon game. As seen here from GameIndustry.biz and Sony's latest statement, Tencent went as far as to hire the composer of Horizon to actually make similar music for their Light of Materium game, which is kind of insane to me that the composer of Horizon even agreed to that, honestly. But not only that, but Sony claims that Tencent ripped off their Aloy main character design and the themes and the looks and even the story of the Horizon series.
Get good, get better.
With Light of Materium. And they also accused Tencent of deliberately using the connection to Horizon to promote the game and in a sense steal customers even. Again, I bring this up for a simple reason, because what Tencent has done here is a lot worse than what Palworld did objectively. Just let me explain. Palworld never tried to convince players that it was Pokemon. It didn't try to market itself by saying, hey, you're a trainer who collects badges and you use Pokeballs and you'll have a Pokedex and stuff. Like, Palworld began as a sort of...
You know how much that matters to me? It matters to me this much. 0. Because I just play games. I just want to play games. I don't give a shit who makes them. If they're good, they're good. I don't care if they're ripoffs. If they're good, they're good.
Rival game in a sense. More so like Ark than really say Pokemon, but in Tencent's case, again, allegedly, because this is what Sony is saying, not me of course, but still, that what Tencent is trying to do here is straight up mimic Horizon 1-to-1. Again, they literally hired the same composer.
Really what they're doing is, I think, in my opinion, hopefully that I'm right about this, they're taking something that exists, that keeps getting in shitified, and they keep like pushing out and re-releasing and shit like that, and making a VR game that nobody fucking played. Like, the more you do that, the more I want companies like Tencent to take your IP and just make something better. You deserve it.
And everything. That's really suspicious and frankly weird. As Sony stated here, they consider Light of Materium to be a slavish clone of the Horizon series. Yet Tencent, in that same paragraph, claims that they are just using genre tropes that Sony do not own, because they, like Nintendo, cannot own the concept of, say, robot dinosaurs, or shooting said robots with arrows and whatever else, which Tencent is right.
Yeah, in a futuristic, dystopian, tribalistic world.
Sony can't legally own that. However, what they are doing, like Sony is claiming, is to market their game as a Horizon game on purpose. As in, it's literally Horizon or Horizon adjacent. Like, that is technically disingenuous. That is fair of them to say, although personally, I still don't think Sony will win in deleting Light of Materium either way from the internet, because again, you can't really own the idea. Although Sony is claiming that Tencent is using the likeness of Horizon's main character Aloy within their own game, as you can see here, they're very, very mad about Tencent just using anything remotely resembling their game. Circling back though to Palworld, it's clear that these companies, whether it's Sony or Nintendo,
people would be more on board with Sony if Sony would just make a better Horizon game. I'm sorry.
Frankly, just don't want competition at all. They don't want things to be challenged because ultimately they just want power over the ideas that they claim that they own in the first place.
And the more stuff like this happens, the worse it's going to get for them, and the more people are going to rip them off.
But there is no idea that anyone can't take and really make into their own if they tried. There's only specific IP concepts, like actual
you don't see From Software going after all of the Souls-like games.
Designs that can't be replicated. But I think what we're finding out, especially with China, is that they are willing to make anything and everything that can make them money pretty much at any cost.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for Nintendo, since as seen here from the GameBusiness.com.
Like, they're not going to make a Horizon 3. But they'll definitely make a game that is like Horizon.
Legend ZA was the weakest selling mainline Pokemon game since 2018. Although the number is still plenty high regardless, but with Palworld selling what it has and with Nintendo wanting it gone, it's still wild that these IP lawyers and journalists believe that the power to change things should not inherently be in the hands of the players at all. But if you ask me, if anything, the power should be in the players' hands more than ever. If we can change the way the industry can work, the sooner we can also hold these companies accountable too. And if you ask me, there's nothing wrong with that. The only people who would have issues with with these things would be those who seek to hold all the power themselves. But if you ask me, at the end of the day, there's only one group whose voice matters in the end, which is like always the players. Because without you guys, there is no Nintendo, Sony, no Pokemon or Palworld. So keep your voices heard. Don't stop talking. Seek out ways to get yourselves heard all the time because it's very important. Because just looking.
Yep. Do research. Buy games that are good. Stop buying games that are mid. Stop buying all the games because you have the fear of missing out. I see that all the time. And then people are like gaslighting themselves into thinking a game is good. And then they don't finish it. They put it away. Whenever I do that, I refund. If I start to think that I don't like a game, I'll refund it. If some bullshit happens, I'll refund it. I did that with Oblivion Remastered. There was some bullshit that they changed that I wish they wouldn't have changed. And the fact that it ran like shit and it looked like every other Unreal Engine game. And I was like, I'm out on this one. And I refunded it after about 6 hours in, which is really cool that Steam allows you to do that if it's a big game like that. R. Lee Ermey, the Marine who became a Hollywood legend. I love this guy, man. Oh, what is it? Full Metal Jacket. Love that movie. I didn't even know the first part with R. Lee Ermey was even like a thing. When I first watched it, I saw the second part. I saw the war part, and I completely missed all of the funny bits at the beginning and the messed up stuff with Pyle. But I also remember a lot of the commercials and seeing him in just random movies. So let's check it out. What's this video about? Forgotten History. I haven't watched this channel in a very long time. I'm gonna give it a like. Nth Legion Pictures.
Boot camp. For generations of Marines, it's been the forge, the place where boys and girls are broken down
and eat crayons
and rebuilt into something harder than steel. It's chaos.
That too.
Order, fear, and pride. All
and a little bit of gay stuff. I mean, not gay stuff.
All rolled into one. And at the center of it stands a single figure, the drill instructor. Their voice is law. Their presence, absolute. Every Marine remembers the first time they locked eyes with their drill instructor. Because in that moment, you realize this isn't a movie. This is the real thing. Over the years, Hollywood tried to capture that intensity.
With Major Payne? No, wait.
The discipline, the terror, the transformation. But only once did they ever get it right. Because
I've seen a lot of war movies. I've seen a lot of military movies in general, a lot of military comedies.
Man they put in front of the camera didn't have to act. He'd already lived it. His name was R. Lee Ermey, and he became the face, the voice, and the spirit of the United States Marine Corps to millions who never served a day in uniform. But who was he before Hollywood found him? And how did one Marine turn a lifetime of discipline?
Wasn't he instructing the actor drill instructor? Wasn't that how this all happened?
To cinematic legend. Let's try and find out.
Hello, I'm Mike Droberg, Marine Corps veteran and filmmaker, and we will try to answer these questions on today's episode of Forgotten History.
Cool. You better like this video, you jackwagon! It's a pretty good intro. Kind of Resident Evil-like.
R. Lee Ermey,
in a way,
was born on March 24th, 1944.
Oh, we're going all the way back.
In Emporia, Kansas, but grew up in the small farming town of Zillow, Washington.
Hey, I grew up in a small farming town. Not in Washington, it was in Arkansas.
Life there was simple, hard, and honest.
Yep.
The kind that either tamed you or toughened you.
Yep.
For young Ermey, it did the latter. By his teenage years, he developed a reputation as a handful, loud, restless, and constantly testing limits. He tore up back roads in fast cars, got into fights, and was arrested more than once for vandalism and reckless driving.
No.
Before long, The locals.
I did a lot of those things. I didn't do the vandalism thing, but all the rest of that stuff, I totally did. Underage drinking, going to parties, getting into fights. Oh, yeah.
Sheriff knew him by
I
name.
was definitely rowdy.
At 17, after yet another run-in with the law, a judge finally gave him an ultimatum. Spend time in jail or enlist in the military.
Damn, he must have done something real bad, because, like, that didn't happen to me.
Ermey didn't hesitate. He chose the Marines, and it changed everything.
I probably, instead of going to jail, I probably would have joined the Marines, too.
He enlisted in 1961 and was sent to Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego.
I wish they would have gave me that option when they put me in jail. I would have much rather taken that option. I would have signed my life away for years rather than do that time that I did in jail.
The transformation was immediate. The wild teenager who once clashed with authority was suddenly surrounded by it and thrived. The discipline, the order, the sense of purpose, it all stuck. After training, he served as an aircraft mechanic and later earned a billet as a drill instructor. One of the toughest, most respected jobs in the Corps.
My grandpa was a drill instructor. He loved it.
He turned that same rebellious fire into command presence, molding recruits into Marines. In 1968, he deployed to Vietnam with the Marine Wing Support Squadron 17, stationed at...
There's a lot of similarities between R. Lee Ermey and my grandpa. Other than the whole being an actor thing, up until that point, there was a lot of similarities. My grandpa definitely had a very similar voice, but more southern United States.
Keeping aircraft operational.
He had an Arkansas, Texas accent.
Under the strain of war. He was part of the machine that made those missions possible. Long hours, constant pressure, and the unrelenting tempo of the combat zone. Ermey served more than a decade in uniform, rising to the rank of staff sergeant. But years of hard service and injuries eventually took their toll. In 1972, he was medically discharged, an ending that hit him harder than he expected. He said that leaving the Marines felt like losing family, but the discipline and intensity of the Corps had burned into him, and it would never fade. In fact, it was about to take him somewhere no Marine drill instructor had ever gone, straight into Hollywood history.
Yeah, because that was like really the rise of war movies. I mean, we had war movies before that and way before that, but the actual, like, it almost felt like you were there in a lot of these movies.
Leaving the Corps, Ermey...
Like, very, very high quality, without actually having to go to the battle itself, because we got a lot of those too.
He struggled to find his footing in civilian life. Like many veterans, he missed the structure, the camaraderie, and the mission. So he followed a path that few would have expected. He moved overseas, settling in the Philippines.
Not a bad place.
It was just a change of...
Well, I don't know about now, but, like, I know some people in the Philippines that I talked to years ago. I haven't talked to them in a few years, but life was good. This was before COVID.
Scenery.
I don't know what happened since
then. But the country's growing film industry, particularly its reputation for hosting war movies, soon caught his attention. He enrolled in the University of Manila on a GI Bill, studying criminology and drama. That combination might sound odd, but for Ermey, it made sense. He wanted to understand people, what drove them, what broke them, and performing gave him an outlet for the intensity he once used on the drill field. His first break came when director Francis Ford Coppola began filming Apocalypse Now in 1976.
Oh, yeah!
Ermey was hired as a military technical advisor, responsible for keeping the actors in line and making the chaos of the Vietnam War look authentic. It didn't take long for people on set to realize that Ermey wasn't just another consultant, he was the real deal. Cast and crew members later recalled that he commanded the same authority off-screen that he once had in boot camp. When he spoke, people snapped to attention. When he gave orders, extras moved like Marines. His energy was contagious, and it got him noticed. Soon, small acting roles followed. He appeared in Apocalypse Now as a helicopter pilot, then landed a few minor parts in low-budget films throughout the late 1970s and early 1980s.
Yeah, this is where he got his big break, was this movie, I believe. Is this Full Metal Jacket here?
There were small steps, but they were building towards something much bigger. Then, in 1986, Stanley Kubrick began production of
Kubrick is one of my favorite directors of all time.
Full Metal Jacket. Ermey was hired to train the actors playing recruits, to shape them into believable Marines. But when Kubrick saw footage of Ermey barking real drill commands between takes, he realized no actor could match his authenticity. The consultant had just earned himself the most iconic role of his life. During the filming of Full Metal Jacket, Ermey insisted on complete realism. He drilled the young actors like real recruits, 10-hour days of marching, shouting, and discipline. The result was tension.
That's really cool that they actually treated it like it was military. Probably nowhere near like the military does it, but still, 10 hours a day, that's crazy.
And fear. Exactly what Kubrick wanted on screen. More than half of Ermey's lines were improvised, drawn from his own years on the drill field. Phrases like, "What's your major malfunction? You will not laugh, you will not cry," came directly from his experience shaping Marines. His rhythm, timing, and control turned into something unforgettable. Critics
and like just the way he yells stuff, dude.
And audiences were stunned. His portrayal of Gunnery Sergeant Hartman became one of cinema's most iconic military
Absolute cinema.
performance. Terrifying, magnetic, and strangely honorable. For many Marines, watching Full Metal Jacket felt like watching boot camp all over again. The performance earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor. But for Ermey, the recognition wasn't about fame. He saw it as a chance to represent the Corps with pride. He often said, "I'm not an actor, I'm just a Marine who happens to play one."
That's really
his
cool.
His voice, his bearing, his command presence, they all became part of pop culture. From late night shows to video games and commercials, the Gunny's voice could cut.
What video games? Wait, hold on. What video games was he in? I have to check this. Hold on. Arlie Ermey video games. He was in Toy Story 2, Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, Fallout Tactics, okay, Call of Duty Ghosts, Toy Story 3. Oh, he was Sergeant RL3 in Fallout 3. Lieutenant Ermey, World of Warcraft. Yeah, I didn't know this. Speaks signature lines from Full Metal Jacket, paying homage to his legacy. That's really fucking cool. Yeah, I had no idea.
Cut through noise like a rifle report. And in every appearance, he carried that same respect for the uniform and the Marines who wore it. For Arlie Ermey, Full Metal Jacket wasn't just a role. It was a salute to the Corps that made him who he was. He could have coasted on that single performance. Instead, he worked harder than ever. Hollywood quickly realized that when they needed authenticity, the real sound, look, and attitude of a Marine, they called the Gunny. Ermey went on to appear in more than 60 films and television projects. He played authority figures, sergeants, sheriffs.
This looks familiar. I think I've seen this before. What is this from?
Sheriffs and soldiers, roles that fit like a uniform. His appearances in Mississippi Burning, Seven, and the Texas Chainsaw
Oh, it was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Michael Bay one.
Massacre remake showed his range, while his voice acting in Toy Soldier introduced him to a new generation.
That's right. Okay, I remember now.
Even as a plastic toy soldier, his delivery was unmistakable.
Dude, it's been so long since I watched Toy Story. I might check that out again. I usually don't check out Disney stuff, but old Disney stuff, I have a soft place. There's a place in my heart for old Disney stuff. New Disney stuff, get that shit out of here.
But Ermey wasn't content with scripted lines. In 2002, he began hosting Mail Call on the History Channel, a show that allowed him to do what he loved most: educate, entertain, and share traditions of the military.
My grandpa 1000% watched this show. He used to watch everything that was coming on History until everything became Ancient Aliens and Modern Marvels.
Standing in front of tanks, aircraft, and historical weapons, he explained the tools of war with the same booming enthusiasm he once used on recruits. Later, he hosted Lock and Load and Gunny Time, deepening his reputation as America's favorite Marine. That same year, the Marine Corps honored him with something extraordinary, an honorary promotion to Gunnery Sergeant.
That's
it was
crazy.
A rank he had lived up to in spirit for decades, and the recognition meant more to him than any film award ever could. And off camera,
Yeah, I mean, like, he deserved it because he basically, like, put good sentiment on the military again. For the longest time, because of Vietnam, like, everybody had bad taste in their mouth about military. And this guy pretty much single-handedly brought military back into the pop culture.
He dedicated himself to supporting veterans. He traveled to bases, hospitals, and memorial
What a
events,
G.
shaking hands with Marines and thanking them for their service. He was known for his generosity, his humor, and his unshakable pride in the Corps. Even as his health began to decline, he never slowed down. He continued appearing at Marine Corps balls and public events, often closing his speeches with the same message: once a Marine, always a Marine. On April 15th, 2018, Ermey passed away from complications of pneumonia at the age of 74. News of his death spread quickly.
Yeah, I remember it.
Through both Hollywood and the military community. For Marines, it felt personal.
Yeah, I went through and I watched a whole bunch of movies that he was in. I missed Toy Story somehow.
They hadn't just lost a familiar face, they'd lost one of their own. Tributes poured in from across the world. The Marine Corps issued an official statement honoring his decades of service and dedication. Fans left messages on his social media pages, thanking him for inspiring them to enlist or for representing the Corps with dignity. Many said that for years, when they thought of a Marine, they pictured the gunny.
Whenever I think of the Marines, I think of his character in Full Metal Jacket.
He was laid to rest.
And just like the military in general, I just immediately think of R. Lee.
Full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery, a fitting resting place for a man who never stopped serving. Today, R. Lee Ermey's voice still echoes in movies, in history programs, and in the memories of Marines who grew up watching him. His legacy isn't measured in film credits or awards, but in respect he earned from men and women who understood exactly what he stood for. He once said,
Yeah, I know a lot of guys like this. I highly respect them. I highly respect this man. What were you about to say?
Men and women who understood exactly what he stood for. He once said, I may have retired from the Marine Corps, but the Marine Corps will never retire from me.
Yeah, one of my really good friends from school is a Marine. And yeah, I got so much respect for that dude.
And for millions who watch him turn discipline to art, that statement still holds true. R. Lee Ermey was more than a performer. He embodied what it meant to serve with pride, to lead by example, and to live as a Marine until the very end. Let us know your thoughts on R. Lee.
That's like the purest American culture of all time. It's just like this. This right here is just so purely American. I can't explain it. It's so hard to explain how much I love the vibes of like old military. New military, it's kind of all the same. But old military, oh fuck yeah. I'll watch some old documentaries, I'll watch some old movies. These vibes, I just love it so much. In another life, I am a Marine. Not this one though, I was too much of a pussy. Angry Video Game Nerd released a new video about Timecop. I don't know if Timecop is based on the movie Timecop, but that's why I clicked it. Also, it's Angry Video Game Nerd. I want to watch all the Angry Video Game Nerd videos again, as many as I can at least. But if it's anything like the movie, I'll probably think it's bad and like it. But I don't think so. I think it's just going to be straight up bad. Oh, okay, there we go.
Hey, have you ever gotten to the end of a really long day, or
Cook
in my
Unity.
case, a lot of
Oh
times
man,
working on a video,
that looks
have
good.
to stop and probably got chef
For
Yeah,
Cook
whatever.
Unity needs, your door also love to heat up something. See ya. Very good. To get 50% off your below and use code CINEMATIC.
You know, I've always wanted to get one of these food subscription boxes. The food always looks so good.
Again, get 50% off using the.
Late into the 80s, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were still the undisputed action movie champions of the world. After almost a decade of Rockies, Rambos, and Conan the Barbarians, it didn't seem like anyone would ever topple them from their testosterone-fueled thrones. That's at least until Jean-Claude Van Damme starred in 1988's Bloodsport and shook up the
Dude, the 80s with their action movies was so good.
scene with some of the most incredible martial arts moves ever. And some of the most brutal scenes in one too, for that matter. With classics like Kickboxer, Death Warrant, Universal Soldier, Hard Target, and yes,
I think I've seen all of those.
even Street Fighter under his belt. Van
I like Street Fighter.
Damme built up an iconic library of martial arts and action films over the years. One of these movies was 1994's Timecop.
Yeah, I did see this movie.
Are we gonna blast to the past?
What is this, Kung Fury?
Jean-Claude plays Max Walker, a man who loses everything, so he joins the Time Enforcement Commission, or TEC for short, a time travel
Oh man, I want to watch this again. It's been years.
police force that punishes
I think I watched it on Sci-Fi on cable when we had cable, like, I don't know, 2016.
criminals who go back in time to enrich their future.
Or it was Dish Network.
It's basically Back to the Future 2, but with badass fight scenes and over-the-top gore.
Yeah!
Have a nice day.
Fatality.
Yep. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
Walker goes after a corrupt U.S. senator who's making himself rich and powerful by changing the past.
Same matter, Captain.
By the way, this video is not about the Time Cop movie. It is about Time Cop, Super Nintendo.
Occupy the same space.
The movie is mostly Van Damme fighting bad guys and boo-haunted houses, and it is technically a Halloween movie if you look at the decorations in the background.
Really?
It's more about Senate committees than cool time travel. At the end, he stops the senator by working with his past self and forcing two pieces of the same matter to occupy the same space. The movie made
That is
over
crazy.
$100 million at the box office and is Jean-Claude Van Damme's highest grossing film of the time. So a
Okay.
video game based on it must have been a no-brainer. They asked Van Damme to be in the game for the digitization.
Yeah, no. The good thing that he has got no part in any of this shit. That's what I'm guessing, at least.
But this is what he said.
Read it.
Developed by French Cryo Interactive, the game came out in April '95 in the US.
Movie games don't always suck, especially nowadays. A lot of my favorite games are movie games. Like, I don't know. Lemony Snicket series of unfortunate events. That's a pretty good game.
Unfortunately, that was 7 months after the movie debuted in theaters and several months after the VHS tape had hit store shelves.
That's not really a new game, though. That's a really, really old game.
Timely. They couldn't plan the game's release a little closer to either of those dates? Well, who am I to judge? It came out 30 years ago, and I'm only just reviewing it today. And it's even been 20 years since the game's future date. The first level takes place in 2005. Wow, you know you're feeling old when the future was so long ago. The game begins with a lengthy...
Dude, I'm probably going to be alive in 2077. I'm going to feel so old because of Cyberpunk. I'll probably still be playing Cyberpunk 2077.
Opening text crawl crammed into the lower third of the screen. Also, they could put in a crappy-looking movie still above it. Whose idea was this?
You look like shit to me.
It's not even that recognizable of an image. It's just a random shot of the security monitors from TEC headquarters. Imagine if they did this in Super Star Wars. Just stuff the opening crawl under a picture of Mos Eisley. The opening quickly recaps the events of the movie and then goes on to explain that the game is actually a sequel to it. The chronologically confused hairs on the back of my scrotum are standing at full attention now, because I gotta ask, why wasn't this game called Timecop 2?
Maybe it was meant to be a movie instead. A movie that sucked so hard the studio used time travel to wipe it from existence, so it appeared as a game instead. The only problem with that, there actually was Timecop 2, the Berlin decision. So too bad that wipes out a potentially good plot device for this episode.
I didn't know that was a thing.
To make things even more confusing, the cover is illustrated like a comic book. After all,
So I'm gonna have to watch Timecop and Timecop 2.
Timecop began as a comic, so is it trying to be a sequel
Didn't
to
know
the
that.
movie or the comic?
Yep, okay.
Anyway,
Both?
the main villain is Professor Kleindost. But hang on, let's stop for a moment and look at this goofball.
I need to
I
explain.
like him.
Dr. Kleindost in the movie was a character that was only mentioned in expositional dialogue. He never actually appeared on screen.
So this is not a screenshot. They got a fresh actor for the game, and this is
That's
the
kind of
face he
crazy,
made.
though.
What did they say to the guy? What did they give him to invoke that kind of reaction? He even laughs on the
Look like a crazy inventor guy.
game over screen like a lunatic.
Yep.
Were they aware of the semi-serious tone of the movie? This guy doesn't fit at
They probably didn't even watch the movie. That's how it goes nowadays.
all. Could you imagine?
They'll make new sequels and new adaptations to things, and they're like, I wasn't really a fan of the original. I just kind of looked at what it was about and remade my own thing. I'm looking at you, The Last of Us.
Him being in the movie? It would be like in the original Star Wars. You know how you never see the Emperor?
Also, the Halo TV show.
Well, imagine if you did, but he comes out wearing Groucho Marx glasses. This entire opening sequence takes a minute and a half to scroll by, and my only takeaway from the whole thing are the spelling mistakes. Kleindost was the only person to conceive Timescan? Conceive? Are you sure you don't mean deceive?
Or hey, what do I know? Maybe he has the technology to give birth to a machine in the far-flung future of 2005.
Wait a minute. Let the duel begins? Did anyone proofread this piece of shit? All right, enough of this. Let's just play the Van Damme game already.
I bet they probably had the one guy that kind of spoke English to do this, and they're like, it looks like English. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
Well, now we're in deep shit.
It's like got that real photo thing going on that Mortal Kombat does.
Refer to this as the Mortal Kombat look.
Yeah.
And it's never a good sign. The odds of a game being good with this art style without the accompaniment of the words Mortal Kombat or Jackie Chan and Fists of Fire range from pretty fucking slim to not a snowball's chance in hell.
I never played that one.
Batman Forever was an omen. Now the character kinda looks like Van Damme if I take my glasses off and squint hard enough. But who am I kidding? It's barely a likeness at best. They did try to at least match some of Van Damme's martial arts moves, like a leg sweep, the flying jump kick, which is a one-hit kill for most enemies in the game. And
why does he jump like that?
His ability to jump 6 feet in the air. They also give you a gun, so just use that instead. Well, until you run out of bullets at least. Speaking of which, the moves are so slow that whenever I engage with an enemy, 9 times out of 10, I get hit, unless I use the leg sweep. Yeah, it's cheap and I don't feel good about it, but it's reliable. It's kind of like spamming the leg sweep in Kung Fu on NES. Or sometimes I just try my luck and jump over them.
This is just Kung Fu 2, or Super Kung Fu.
You can kick a robot Gatling gun to death, so I can only imagine his legs are made of solid steel. That or steel-toed boots. I mean, look at him obliterate this probe droid. Van Damme! You have a bomb that wipes out everybody on screen, but it's too slow. I still get hit. So what's the point? I will say, this game has some pretty cool music. But why do I keep hearing FBI? FBI. Get on it. Wow.
Yeah, They probably just have had a sound pack, and it was like a law enforcement. There you go. And just slap that on there, and it was just about FBI.
Real catchy hook. FBI? Yeah, put that over some club music. The layout is like a maze with no clear indication of where to go. Anytime I reach the edge of the screen, it's always a dead end.
Is this made by Japanese people? Because it kind of seems like it was made by Japanese people for the American market, just to make a quick buck.
God fucking Van Damme! And there's always doors in the background just for decoration. You think you could go in there. I mean, they open and close, but you still can't go in. The worst part of all, there's a time limit.
Dude, games with time limits, get the fuck out of here with that. Why did game developers ever think that was a good idea? I'm so glad we got rid of that.
Cop? More like not enough time, cop. And according to the manual, you can only spend so much time in one sector before disintegration. Wow, talk about a raw deal. I mean, you get sent back in time, but then you have to rush, and any deviation from your mission will result in your instant death. I mean, do you think maybe you could send me back in time just a little further?
To play some shitty games that suck ass?
Please? Thankfully, they have clocks you can pick up that give you bonus time. Yeah, like Back to the Future. Yippee. How about just don't
Or like Resident Evil Mercenaries? That's probably the best time running out mechanic.
Have a time limit. Then we come
and that's not main game.
The underwater stage, my favorite. Why do so many games have to have one of these? Ninja Turtles, Goonies 2, A Boy and His Blob, Earthworm Jim, Gex, the list goes on. But this underwater stage takes place in 1945.
San Andreas? Like GTA?
If you care. I like the ripple effect on the graphics. That is a cool detail. And like I said, the music is kinda rocking.
This does look really cool, but it definitely looks like that it plays like shit. Maybe we should get a remake of this.
But why can't I duck?
Tommy, whoa, it ain't no law to duck. Ow.
Is there some law against ducking underwater? He just stands up tall, making himself a big target, and even jumps from a standstill. This makes it extremely hard to get by all the octopuses. Yeah, I mean, do you think there's enough octopuses here? There's even a giant one at the end of the level. Well, if you ever wanted a game where Van Damme's fighting octopuses in 1945, then this is the game for you.
Underwater? What does this have to do with Timececop?
Now I'm in a fucking submersible of some kind, and the game's turned into a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up.
What the fuck?
I don't mind a little variety, but just
they didn't know what they were doing. It just reeks of bad movie game.
Look at this thing. How in the hell am I supposed to...
This is the kind of energy that went off into the early 2000s with movie games. A lot of movie games are great, though. I think Robots was good. I downloaded it. I'm probably going to try it out at some point, because I don't remember.
Dodge anything when this takes up half the screen. Next is Wall Street, 1929. And I'm getting shot at the second it starts. What the fuck? Gangsters are dancing down the street, shooting at me. They're hanging out of cars, hanging out of windows, and while there's catchy, upbeat ragtime jazz playing in the background. Almost as if in unison with the sound of bullets riddling my fucking body. These motherfuckers in the windows are the worst, and are practically impossible to avoid. You can hear them shooting before you see them on screen, so you'd think it'd be simple. But every time without fail, as soon as I move far enough to the right to make them appear, these window fuckers shoot my body full of holes like Swiss cheese. Fuck! Oh, fucking shit.
See, I'm glad AVGN plays games like these, and I watch his videos, and it just informs me on old retro games to not play. Because I love retro games. I love the NES era. I love the DOS era. And I'm not going to play this game. And I probably would have accidentally played this game if not for this AVGN video. And I'm glad for it. So thank you for your service, Angry Video Game Nerd. For playing the shitty games that suck ass. So I don't have to. Most of the time. Sometimes I still play shitty games that suck ass.
God damn, Van Damme! Come on! The most frustrating part is that I've actually avoided their hail of bullets before, so I know it's doable. Instead, it's just one constant piss stream of white-hot lead to the face. There's also the never-ending threat of a jerk-off driving across the screen taking pot shots every 5 seconds. A drive-by, if you will. By the way, can anyone tell me where to find a drugstore and a newsstand? Oh, that's right, they're on every fucking block. That's convenient. At the end of the level, you fight a robot that mysteriously resembles Rob. This never happened in the movie. And why didn't it? That would have been awesome. So
right?
Naturally, I proceeded to beat...
I like Rob the Robot. He was one of my favorite characters in Super Smash Brothers. I don't remember which one. Was it Brawl? I think that was the Wii one. Whichever one had Rob in it.
The ever-loving crap out of that robo-fuckazoid piece of shit until it explodes. Level 4, German. Not Germany, just German. The typos never end. Kleindost is working with the Nazis now and has given them advanced modern weaponry, or weaponly, if you go by the game.
Okay, so this guy definitely looks like he's Japanese. I straight up think this was made by Japanese people.
Given them advanced modern weaponry, or weaponly, if you go by the game. Seriously, did nobody proofread this? And where are these so-called advanced modern weapons? I'm expecting laser beams or overpowered machine guns like the movie's opening scene when the time traveler kills all those Confederate soldiers. No, the soldiers just stop and fire their Lugers at me, like every other enemy. Nothing special about that, at all. Other enemies in the stage include mortars, boulders, and barbed wire. Wow, I never thought we could top bats, spiders, and snakes for the most uninspired enemies in video game history. But Timecop might have done it. The boss of the level is a...
I really like the way it looks, damn it. Because that's a cool looking tank. If this was like an RPG or something, where you didn't have to run around and actually hit stuff, if it was like Chrono Trigger, it'd probably be fucking great. And it would have been easy just to do that.
Screen covering tank. Again, not advanced modern technology. I can't even tell if I'm doing any damage to this thing, but I unload every bullet I have into it until it ends. The next few levels are all more the same. Beating up bad guys, destroying robots.
It initially looks really cool. It kind of reminds me of RoboCop and the Terminator games.
Spots, getting lost until the time limit kills you, and then eventually finding the stage exit. Mind you, you only get 2 continues in this game, so you don't want to fuck up too much.
That's insane!
In the final stage, you confront Dr. Kleindost. Suddenly I'm having flashbacks to the Rocketeer for some reason. I wonder why.
It's funny how he went to San Andreas, and he was underwater, and now he's got a jetpack? Wonder if Rockstar stole their ideas from Timecop.
Must be the shitty controls. Can't think anything else it could be. Oh, that's right, the fucking jetpack.
There were games that did this kind of thing better, like Rampage.
Like many games with a jetpack, the developers decide to emulate the weightlessness of flying by adding a lot of floatiness to your character's movement. So now, any press of the button makes Walker speed across the screen, usually right into danger. The entire stage is covered with landmines, or should I call them air mines? Floaters?
I think this was probably supposed to be a water level, and then they just changed it because they look like those water mines.
Either way, you want to avoid crashing into them until you get to Kleindost, and we sure as shit don't want to restart the entire game over again at this point over something that stupid. Well, when you finally do get to Kleindost, the bastard flies away right off the damn screen. How the hell am I supposed to hit him if he won't come back? Now, a lot of games have this problem, but Jesus Christ, does this one in particular rub my rhubarb the wrong way. It's the final boss, and he's hiding outside the bounds of the stage, mocking me. This guy's laughed at me enough. He's not gonna break my spirit. I'm gonna blow him out of the air and end this piece of shit. Fucking asshole.
I believe in you. You can do it.
After landing the final shot, he explodes. And then, after all that, the screen goes black. Kleindost slowly enters the frame. He laughs. And then his body flattens in on itself, and he explodes. Cut to credits. No congratulations, no thank you, no pomp and circumstance, not even a quick pat on the ass on your way out the door. Nothing. They just dump you into the end credits and leave you with a cold, dead feeling inside of you as the game's parting words spin towards you. The end.
What the fuck? What was that game even? It was just a bunch of lackluster experiences slapped together. That wasn't no Timecop.
Is that a D or a P?
The imp.
Well, Jean-Claude goddamn Van Damme! This game fucking sucks. I wish I never played it, and I'm gonna make sure I never did. Well, who am I to judge? The game came out 30 years ago, and I'm only just
Slap him.
reviewing it today. And
Bring back the werewolf.
it's been even 20 years since the game's future date. The first level takes place in 2005. Wow. You know you're feeling old when the future was so long ago. Oh.
Are they going to combine and become one fucked up, angry video game nerd organism?
I get it. Let's destroy the game. The same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting time fucked, bitch. Yeah. How you like that game?
What's it going to become?
Oh, shit.
Oh, they are going to combine. Yep, that wasn't a good idea. Okay. No more AVGN? What's with Angry Video Game Nerd dying in the past couple episodes? I hope we keep up with this energy, with this South Park Kenny energy, where he just keeps dying. Yeah! The Angry Video Game Nerd.
Angry Video Game Nerd
Video game.
8-bit. An all-new video game that'll take you back to the past like never before.
This game sucks.
Just the way I like it. Jump and shoot your way through levels full of familiar enemies, power-ups, and discover alternate routes on your way to every boss. Only this time with top-notch live-action cutscenes throughout.
Oh, I love
make
it.
Feel like you're playing an actual episode of the show.
I'm gonna play a good game for once.
Pre-orders are open now through December 7th at Limited Run Games for the physical editions of AVGN 8-bit. You can grab the modern retro version on Nintendo Switch or PlayStation 5
Whoa.
and the actual retro version.
It's actually on the Switch? That's crazy. Angry Video Game Nerd has a video game on the Switch.
Made just for the NES in a classic
It fits on the NES. That's fucking cool. That's the one that I want. I want that version.
gray cartridge.
Let's pop this in.
The NES edition comes with some goodies too, like a box, manual illustrated by Mike Matei, dust sleeve, and double-sided poster. You can get as many modern...
I just followed Mike Matei on X today because he said something about AVGN not getting recognition as really the guy who started the gaming culture on YouTube.
And gray cartridges as you like, but there are a few limited NES colors. 500 copies of the legendary Gold Edition sold out in just 1 hour.
Yeah,
But
I was going to say, I don't think I'm getting any of those special ones.
there's still time to grab Nerd Rage Red, the perfect match for the fury I feel playing crappy games.
What were they thinking?
Or Super Mecha Baddie Blue, inspired by the sinister
That one's really cool. I like that.
glow of the possessed NES from my game's live-action cutscenes. These colors are going fast, so get your orders in before December 7th, because once this run is gone, it's gone forever.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get one of those because I don't have the money for it. But that'd be so fucking cool if I could get that. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching some more AVGN videos. I'm probably gonna skip a few days before I watch another one. Before I watch a couple of them, there's a couple I want to get back to watching the ones where it all started, man. Well, that's where I'm gonna end today's stream or tonight's stream. It's nighttime. I'm going to be streaming every single night except Sunday night at 9 p.m. Every single night. Going to be doing this awesome culture show. Definitely follow me on all the platforms, especially here on Rumble, where the show is exclusive because of YouTube's copyright claim system being fucking bullshit. That's why I moved over to Rumble. I'm just reposting the clips from the stream onto YouTube. Follow the Patreon, man. I've got a link down there in the comments. I love you. I'll see you in the next one. and I'll be streaming over on YouTube for the gameplay portion of the Folly show. I'm playing Resident Evil 7 every single night at around, I don't know, what time is it now? Around midnight. Midnight is when I prefer to start, and I go for a couple hours. So be there or be square.